Hi everybody and welcome to the KTPF Community Show, live in the hub at www.ktpf.co.uk, the online paranormal talk show brought to you in association with the UK Shadow Seekers and the Keeping the Paranormal Friendly community. Good evening, my name's Suzanne.
I'm Steve.
Established since 2007, the KTPF is a dedicated ongoing community which is not just there for when you're experiencing animosity from others. We welcome every paranormal investigator and enthusiast alike, including hobbyists, scientists and psychic mediums from around the globe, to join in as we cover this vast, fascinating subject, encouraging you to share information, advice and most importantly friendship. Remember, collaboration, not competition. Yeah, and in the words of Doc Savage, sit down and hold on tight and please keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times until we come to a complete stop.
Talk Radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
Yeah, good evening ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the hub tonight here on the KTPF Community Talk Show. And we're raring to go, so we hope you are. Everything's recording, hopefully, so keep your fingers crossed so we can put it on the replay later. Okay, because we've had a few problems, a bit of a hitch because Steve went somewhere on the internet, and for some unknown reason it brought down a search thing, didn't it?
It did, and it messed up the recorder for a minute.
Yeah, so we're hoping, fingers crossed.
Hopefully we're back in action.
That we're back in action. Well, I hope you're okay. We've brought Neil back tonight for our evening's entertainment, or part of it.
It's still a bit cold.
It is still a bit cold, very cold. I'm
Yeah.
wondering
I don't feel cold, but I feel cold inside.
I think that's what's happened. I think that's what's happened with Doc Savage. Last time I heard from him, it was -29 over there. Centigrade. And I don't know what's happening with Norfolk. I think they've disappeared. Perhaps they've gone off the Richter scale somewhere along the line. So, yeah, good evening, everyone. And as I say, we have Neil back. How are you, Neil? First day at work?
Yeah, it was, yes.
How did you do?
It was alright, actually. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too stressful.
No?
Yeah, got on okay.
Good.
Yeah, everybody did as they're told first time. But it's only the first day, so...
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Got to be good for the boss. Until
I
they
am
get
the
to know you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, until they get to know you.
Yeah. Give them a
know.
chance how to wangle around you.
Yeah,
well,
this is it.
there's that, and, you know, I hope nobody see me, but I did sneak on Facebook on the first day, which
Yes,
is a bad impression,
see that,
wasn't it?
didn't we?
Well, if you was in your office, then the people at work wouldn't know, would they?
Well, no. There you go.
I don't know.
And it is the advantage of your position.
Well, it is.
Joe said
It
you
is.
were on it all day.
I shouldn't
actually.
abuse it. Oh, Joe. Shut up.
And Leanne said, and you were texting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, but I was secret texting. It was under the table.
Yeah, well,
So, you know,
all
there
the
you go.
secrets come out now, Mr. Munnerley.
I can't do nothing, me, can I?
Right, well,
Nope.
before we carry on and let you know what's going on, we had Doc Savage. He popped in for a while. I hope he comes back. He might have just gone to drop something off on his job because he's at work when he talks
Well,
to
if
us.
it's anything like last week, he's gone to run somebody over with a forklift.
Yeah, you never know.
suppose that part.
Okay, so
Keep your arms and legs in the ride at all times, like you said.
yes.
In case you get hit by a forklift truck on the way.
Okay, we see one there that says little shih tzu. That's me. I'm a little shih tzu.
And she is.
Right, so let's see who we've got here. We have Simply Joe from Simply Ghost. She's in with us tonight, as always. Let's hope she stays a bit longer than normal. We have Green Lee. He's there, so I'm sure his other half isn't far away. We also have Nigel of the Portals. Nigel of the Portals. That's what I was talking to Andy Mercer, and he said, "Are we talking about Nigel of the Portals?"
Nigel is the portal master.
He is,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah,
Yes.
but then later on in the day, you went Sir Nigel of the Portals.
Sir Nigel of the Portals, yeah. He didn't like that, so I changed it.
He didn't like the Sir.
Well, he didn't come back to me, so I thought, oh, perhaps he's offended. Let's see who else we've got on there. Just dropping down. It's the trouble when you're in the back door of this. It keeps going up so quick. Let me see what we got.
He said he's the gatekeeper.
He's the gatekeeper. That's good. Okay. So we've also got Leanne in there. So thanks for changing her to be listening. And let's see, who else have we got? We got Reiki Debs. I knew she went far away. So
Point taken, Debs. Point taken. Lead by example, which I did, because no one's seen me.
Nigel of the Porter, she likes that as well. So she says she's multitasking. Apparently, Leanne is.
So what else is she doing?
I hate to think.
Leanne's always multitasking.
I hate to
Can't
think.
even say it. Tasking.
Either the way she's hearing your dulcet tones over the airways.
God. OMG.
OMG. I'm organising a bikini photo shoot. All right, okay. We won't go there then.
Yeah, she just said that on purpose.
Yeah, I bet she did. So you've been texting all day
Not all day.
and Facebooking it.
Not all day. I might have left it online. That's where it might be.
Right, okay. You're going to need to pass me that phone. I forgot to bring it over. And I need my mobile
She
from
forgot
somewhere.
the phone.
And I've got my mobile somewhere because I might need that. Yeah, I know. I don't know what I've done with it now. So I'll have to have a look for that. That's because we were worrying about the old Ujima flip. Right, so let's see. Arise, Sir Nigel, gatekeeper of the portals. I can see the e-film now.
Nigel of the Portaloos.
dear.
Yeah, I'll. Oh,
He's put that.
I'll tell Madge to expect you next week, shall I?
Right, can you just go and ring my phone and find it for me? Because I might need it for Richard's.
Probably left it downstairs now.
Either that or it's in the bedroom. Welcome to my house. Let's get rid of that off there.
I
can't see
still
Steve.
got-
Right, hold on. Where's my overlay? I've forgotten to move that. There you go. Can see us all
I should
now.
go and find the phone, dear.
He's gone to find the phone. Well, you're nearer to the door. So, round about 8:30, we're going to be giving our first caller, our first guest, I should say, not caller, a call. And just to let you know, his name's Richard Thomas. He's an author, and he comes from South Wales, I think. I think it's South Wales. I know it's Wales. He's a freelance. Try again. He's a freelance feature writer specialising in Fortean subjects. He has written for high street magazines, including, no, not Woman's Own, before you say anything, Alien Worlds magazine, Paranormal magazine, UFO Matrix magazine. He is also a blogger for UFO Mystic and Binnall of America. Sounds something like that. In addition to writing about the paranormal and unexplained, Richard also writes a syndicate column for the local newspapers in his native Wales. So that's Welsh Wales over there in Welsh Wales. I think it's South Wales it's come from. So we'll be talking to him later, and also about his book Paranews, UFO Ghosts, Conspiracy, Cryptids and more, and what motivated him to actually write the book. So be quite interesting. And as I said, later on, after that and after the break and the events, we'll be talking to Neil and continuing our topic from last week, plus a few additional bits and pieces, finding out about the psychic side and meditation, and also about a story I found in the Sun today, and we'll get Neil's opinion on it as well. See what he thinks.
Would that be our first guest you deleted off Facebook,
I
Joe?
beg your pardon?
She says she gets it
Joe reckons she's going to
No,
go
not
to the
you,
toilet
yes.
when he comes on, because she said she's going to log off.
because she's deleted him on Facebook for some reason.
Oh dear. I don't know why. So, from Settle, keep it real, bro. What's that all about? From Settle. I'm missing some stuff here. But yes, so...
Nigel's on the tropical nut mix again.
Right. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, but we'll see. Have I just gone poop again?
No, I think that was
Hopefully my mic will
me
be
some-
okay tonight.
that's me securing the mic stand here.
So you're not... You won't be listening to our first guest, will you not, Simply Joe? So, each to their own. We've also got some observations for you to check out. I will really, she said. There are also some observations that I need you to check out.
Unless you ask the question.
On the actual Facebook page that I put on there earlier. And please, if you haven't seen it, have a look at that one of the 2 children. We'll come back to that later. Yeah. I thought that was quite cute.
Can I get you to pass me a pen, please?
A pen?
A pen, yes.
There you go.
Hey, thank you.
Just to talk about this, I don't know if you've noticed, there's
able to write questions.
there was you had it on yours, and I nicked it off you, I think, Neil. 2 babies talking, 2 twin babies. Oh my God, it's just so unreal. And I was actually in awe of it. I couldn't stop looking at it. I had to play it a couple of times, but to be honest with you, my initial reaction was, my first thoughts was, what language are they speaking?
It's baby language.
I know it's baby language.
Yeah, which is a universal language, believe it or not.
I know it's baby language, but my actual thoughts were, could it be possible that we really are aliens? And as adults, we actually teach them our chosen language. Like for us, we're English. If it was Chinese children, we would teach them the chosen language.
Yeah, of course it would.
So how do we know that
it's
we
like
are
it's like an
actually
English
aliens?
it's like an English baby being born in China would be brought up to speak Chinese.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, how do we know that we aren't really aliens? That's my first actual thought when I watched it, because of the way they were going on.
Do it.
Yeah.
I know it's baby speak, but
Nigel was in all of them too.
He definitely was. It was cute.
It wasn't just to speak, was it?
It
was all the
actions
that went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was as if, it was really weird. You see some of these silly films, I think Coneheads, comes to mind, where they were saying hello and they'd put their hand on their nose or something, some silly
See, babies, baby language is a universal language, obviously.
Right,
but they also use a sign language as well.
Leanne says that she's an alien. Does that explain something?
That explains everything, yeah. I knew there was something not quite right along some.
Yeah, definitely.
Just couldn't work it out. No, it's. I mean, they use a sign language as well, which I think scientists are still working on it. That they can actually find out what they're saying from this sign language.
Well,
Nigel says here that there was a sense of intelligence between them.
There was.
And Greenleaf said Coneheads was awesome.
It was a good film, that.
I know you're not into the baby fan. You're not a baby fan, simply, Joe. But it was just watching them. It was just so, the way they were actually understanding each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is comical. It is comical.
It was, and I thought, and it just made me think. Are we actually aliens, and do we teach? Is that the actual proper language we have? And we've actually been taught the language that we're in, the county we're in, or the country we're in. And it was just a thought.
And Leanne said we were cheeky sod.
Pardon?
So
we were cheeky sod for calling an alien.
We're talking about observations. We'll get on to the observations.
You want
okay? Let's get on with it. Okay.
Well, what were we observing, dear?
Well, there wasn't much in the way of paranormal news this week, I must admit, so I really had to look, and I've found this right on the cusp of the evening.
Most of it seems to be USA anyway.
No,
I mean, when we get this
when we get the paranormal news, yeah.
It's hard to find anything that's English anymore.
Yeah, I must admit, and all the actual paranormal news of late is... basically, it's UFOs. People have seen UFOs everywhere, and no disrespect, but I don't really want to do UFOs every week. So, you know what I mean. It's just just the way I am. You'd get bored if I kept telling you there was a UFO somewhere. So I like to mix it up a bit. But anyway, we'll start with the observations.
So, there's a UFO somewhere.
I know there is. Shut up.
In America.
Yeah.
In China.
Always in America. Shush. Observations. Are we ready?
Cigar shaped.
I just turned them down. No, seriously. Come on, let's get on with it. I've got 15 minutes before we ring our friend.
Go on then.
Right. Reports in the Get Bracknell News. Okay. Tells us how community gardeners took part in an ancient tradition in the hope that it would bring a good harvest of apples this year. Volunteers at the Geolot Hills Community Landshare held a wassail after last year's bad harvest for its apple orchard. Janice Harding, Warfield Parish Council Clerk, said, I usually don't believe in this sort of stuff, but we've had such a terrible year we thought we'd do it with every little helps. The group who saluted the orchard by placing toast in the trees, in the branches, and pouring cider on the roots were also joined by the OBJ Morris dancers at the Landshare off Wellers Lane. They said that the dancers were great in getting everybody to get involved in the celebrations. We all sang songs and made lots of noise. We had about 60 people show up and they all seemed really to enjoy themselves. The custom of wassailing, if you didn't know, started in the west of England when orchard owners would salute in the new year by drinking cider to promote good weather. The Landshare is a 6-acre site run by Bracknell Forest Homes in partnership with Warfield Parish Council, which gives neighbours the opportunity to own an allotment and give their own food and grow their own food. Janice added, it's such a brilliant amenity, we want people to make the most of it. So if you're in that area, make the most of it, but let's hope that the wassail worked.
Can you explain what a wassail is?
I just told you what a wassail was.
Poor Deb went, wassail?
The custom of wassailing started in the west of England.
They get the trees pissed on cider.
Which orchard owners would salute in the new year by drinking cider to promote good weather.
Yeah, but
that's wassailing.
But they also pour it on the trees, don't they?
No, they place toast in the trees branches and pour cider on the roots. There you go.
What did I just say? They put cider on the trees.
Can you say that again, Sue, please? Are you serious? The custom of wassailing started in the west of England when orchard owners would salute in the new year by drinking cider to promote good weather.
I am a cider drinker. I drink it all of the day.
Why wait for wassailing then?
Yeah, why wait for wassailing?
Okay, are you happy now, Joe? Wassailing.
Next.
Okay, this happened in New Zealand. Okay, it's not like she had a crystal ball or anything, but still, during routine prenatal care, your midwife starts giving you tips on what to do if you find yourself giving birth in a car. You have to wonder, especially if you actually end up doing just that. That's just what happened to parents Ash and Elmer Redpath. Emma told New Zealand's Nelson Mal that when her midwife, Hannah Stryker, started talking to her about what to do should she need to give birth in a car, she thought it was ridiculous. I thought, I'm not going to have it in the car. I'm not that organised. Then there she was earlier this month giving birth to her son, Alex, in the family station wagon alongside the road. Emma said her contractions came on hard and fast, and so she called the midwife and her mother to come to watch their 18-month-old daughter, Chloe. But there was no time to wait, so they headed to the hospital. They never made it. Ash called the midwife on the way and told her they couldn't go any further. But so he parked up under some palm trees on the side of the road, and the midwife came to them, making it just in the nick of time. He told the site, I was stressing because if the midwife had not arrived, I would have to catch Alex. Bowling ball. It's a bit like the actual what they do on the TV when they stand there catching it, the dads, isn't it? Fortunately, all was fine, and Alex arrived healthy and hefty at 8 pounds 11 ounces, with one heck of a birth story to tell. Big sister Chloe was right there at her car seat, for it all, but slept right through it. Has a doctor or midwife ever made a prediction that came true for you? If so, let us know. Send it to admin@ktpf.co.uk. Okay, a couple of more to go through. Right, if you have a look on the KTPF community, we will be going back to this one later because Andy Mercer wants to talk about this one. Let me just see where it is. There is a video on there concerning the strange sounds from harp weapon in the sky. Okay, now this here says loud booming sounds are being heard all over the world lately. A lot of folks have witnessed this strange phenomena in a few states across the US. The booms seem to originate from the sky. There are some guesses as to what the sounds might be, but for the most part, no one really seems to know. Scientists remain puzzled. People all over the world are recording the sounds on their phones. Many of them are posting videos of these encounters on YouTube. A lot of people are terrified. Others want answers. Some think it's a worldwide hoax. What are these sounds? So far, no one has come up with an explanation as to what these noises could be. At least the world hasn't ended, so that is a good sign. A quick search on YouTube of strange sky sounds will garner quite a few results, but go and have a look at that one that's on there. I must admit, I did listen to it. They were quite scary. Have you ever seen them? Have you heard them?
Have you ever seen the noise?
Oh, no, have you heard them? It seemed really noisy and clanging.
It's just the Earth repairing itself, I think.
Do you think so?
I do, yeah. It's nothing in the sky.
It's that atmosphere.
I think it's just rebounding off the atmosphere.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's the Earth plates rubbing together. To be honest.
So if you want to go and have a look and give your views, that would be great. Okay, they're talking about Dulux for some reason. Makes me wonder whether they're actually listening to me. Right, okay, here's one for you. It's a pity Doc Savage ain't on for this one because he'd probably like this one. Are you ready for this? For decades, UFO enthusiasts have been scanning the sky for signs of alien activity.
Said they're multitasking.
They're multitasking, Suzanne. Are they Reiki Debs? Right, are you ready for this one anyway? For decades, UFO enthusiasts have been scanning the skies for signs of alien activity. But the truth may no longer be out there after all. Now, before I continue, guys, these two, they're like bloody Tweedledee and Twindledum when they get together, when they start laughing. So if you can just keep it down so you can actually hear what I'm singing. Are you ready? Don't look like that. I have spoken. Right. Are you ready for this? During my search for this week's observations,
well,
I may have stumbled...
You're an MD, so you must be dumb.
See what I mean? They're buggers.
Steve started that one, not me.
Are you
I never
listening?
opened my mouth.
Listen, during my search for this week's observation, I may have stumbled on the answer. Do you know what I'm stumbling on the answer of?
No idea.
See what I mean? They don't listen, do they?
I can't multitask. I'm not a woman, you see. So
people have been looking at UFO enthusiasts, right? By scanning the skies, or they have been.
They've been looking at the enthusiasts.
I'm going to hit these two, I really am.
I thought she just said.
I'm still on putting toast on my tree, you know, with anchor butter on and everything. So.
Does somebody want my job? Look, we've lost one viewer now, thanks to you two. Right, as I was saying, otherwise I might actually I'll mic them again. Right. For decades, UFO enthusiasts have been scanning the sky for signs of alien activity. But the truth may no longer be out there after all. During my search for this week's observations, I may have stumbled on the answer. According to an anonymous post placed on newsbiscuit.com yesterday, 22nd of January 2013, aliens are cutting down visits to Earth since the introduction of the camera phone. Okay? You should see these two. Right. It reads, a representative of various alien species has said that they've decided to give Earth a wide berth. Now that high quality cameras included in mobile phones means that anyone they abduct can prove it, which has taken all the fun away. It used to be such a laugh to select some gullible looking fool and kidnap them, then watch them try and convince people that it really happened. But now everyone's got a camera in their pocket. It's just too risky, it said. However, despite their statement, it appears that the aliens may well unwittingly be making further visits after abductee from Utah confirmed that his iPhone was kept by his captors, who liked its smooth interface and functionality so much so that they now base all their navigations on Apple Maps.
Are we back on?
That was quite... Yeah.
Unleash hell.
I won't repeat what you just said, Nigel.
It was funny though.
That was just a tongue-in-cheek, that one.
Yeah, I got 2 questions for that.
What's that? It was a bit tongue-in-cheek, that one, but it was out there.
First of all, who the hell is this representative?
I don't know.
Obviously somebody from Apple.
and
Or iPhones.
Well, Apple.
and secondly, that kind of tells me exactly why Neil was pick up dumb shits from America.
Language, Timothy. You moan at me in the bloody in the rehearsal.
Stop swearing on air.
Well, am I right or not? It always seems to be some
It does. I
backward,
must
inbred
admit.
bloody idiot that they seem to pick up and go,
Oh, it is,
I was proud.
It's probably one of them. It's probably one of them swamp loggers.
Why would aliens keep the iPhone? It was just a bit of tongue-in-cheek, okay? It was out there. I found it, and I thought it might make you laugh.
They kept the iPhone because it had the map on it. They didn't know where they were going.
I just thought it might have been a little bit of light relief.
A little bit of light entertainment.
I wouldn't call it light relief.
Light entertainment.
I've had better relief in the toilet.
What I mean is comic relief, as in...
No, we can't stop
which
laughing.
is actually coming up. Which is actually coming up soon.
Comic relief for
Yeah.
kids, yes.
So, okay. Used Apple Maps and drop him in Barnsley. Your mahogany. That was what Nigel said anyway. So
I'm not mahogany today, actually.
no.
Why has it been,
I'm quite.
has it been dyed again?
No, it's not. No. Bobby Dazzler today.
Bobby Dazzler.
Teak.
Yeah, teak.
Excuse me. You're sweating a bit. Can you say that shine? We're getting camera flare.
Just want to mop me brow.
Yeah, we're getting camera flare.
It's like a greenhouse in this room.
Oh God.
Either that or don't know.
Lee says teak, Roky Den says walnut, and Simply Joe says mushroom.
A mushroom. Yeah, kept in the dark and fed. I can't say
remember
it.
when I used to like I do like a bit of beige, I must admit, and when I paint, it's got to be not mahogany, it's got to be
Beige.
something like country beige or something like that. So.
I've never seen a hair dye called country beige.
No, I know, but I was just thinking of the browns. That's all.
Don't speak
Neil,
too
you're
soon.
getting hot flushes.
Don't speak too soon, mate.
Look at the colour of that tissue. It's rubbing off.
It's not. It's a pattern on the tissue actually, and it looks like it's coming off.
Is it?
Yeah.
When it gets wet, you get blue dots.
Like dots.
Oh, you get blue dots. Oh, it's them old best ones, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not?
No, they're not.
Bulbasaur on the head.
No, they're antiviral things.
Antiviral.
What are you trying to say?
You got germs in your head.
Trying to say I've got a virus or something now. I'm
Oh,
doing well
dear.
tonight, aren't I?
I know. So, it's going to be one of them nights. Right.
Mahogany would die.
Okie dokie.
I'll tell you what, I'll varnish it for next week, shall I?
And Joe says you can't see that close up.
Oh, it is quite warm in here,
Oh my
actually.
god, he sniffed it.
Well, you said you had Bulbasaur in it. I wasn't gonna,
No.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to ring up this Richard Thomas and see what he's all about. And see where he comes from and what's he been up to. And
He comes from Welsh Wales, there.
I know he comes from Welsh Wales. And you've got some questions for him, haven't you?
I've got a few little...
We're going to try his home
Little,
phone first, and
little
hopefully
bits
it'll
of
work.
Yes, I do know that, Lee. It's matte and not glossy. Stop the camera flare.
297. See whether this works. If not, I'll have to use his mobile. Okay. The phone is ringing. Do, 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 do. It's still ringing. And it's still ringing. Well, he did send me a message and say I might have to... Yeah, it's gone into answer machine. He did say I might have to ring his mobile because he's having problems with his phone. Shut up. Too much info.
I think Lee needs a tenner in.
I think Nigel wants to know how Chelsea's doing.
That would be 0-0 at the moment. First half's nearly over.
That's very paranormal, that, isn't it, Chelsea?
I know.
Actually,
excuse me.
Actually, it is, because if you think about it, all the class players they've got, and they keep losing stupid bleeding games.
But it's still not paranormal, is it?
Like QPR, that's mystifying.
Steve, shut up! I told you if push comes to shove, I'll change the bloody day.
No.
And you won't do that. Right,
No.
just while I ring up this...
No, because when the European thing starts up again, we'll be playing on Thursday.
Right, as I was about to say, whilst I'm ringing this guy up, I'd just like to say it's our Vinny's birthday today, and he received a card, okay?
That's
I said
good.
Thank you. So, happy birthday to Vincent Brindle of Burnley. I know you're not listening, but you might do one day.
He does pop in occasionally.
He does pop in occasionally.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Happy birthday, Vinny. For next year, because I know it'll probably be next year by the time you listen to this.
It was also the birthday of one of our ex-team members,
John Roberts.
John Roberts, who's emigrated to Gran Canaria. That was he was one of the original start-up of the team, and they had emigrated before you joined us.
And everyone's saying happy birthday back to you, Vinny. Hello. Hi, is that Richard? Right. I did. Oh, right. Do you want me to try again? It'll be cheaper for me. Okay then. Bye. You just missed it. It's a lot cheaper if I use it on this one.
Apparently it's Joe's birthday in 4 months. I won't be and ask how old she'll be in 4 months.
It's supposed to be ringing. Let's try again.
Big 3-0.
I thought she was 36.
She says.
It's Helen's next month.
Let me try that again.
Leanne's in 8 months.
No, my phone's being awkward.
Mine in 12.
Right.
Because I've just had mine.
Mine in 5. Join the club.
Hey, I'll get there in a minute. Oh God.
I'll be struggling, dear.
Yes. I will get used to this phone.
We'll use the other one then.
It's alright.
Hey, it's ringing.
Hope he answers her.
Hello?
Hello. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Just about.
Right, was it better on the mobile?
Yeah.
Okay then, we'll do that then.
Okay.
Sorry.
Use mine, I've got plenty of minutes.
Oh God, why can't people get Skype?
I've got about 400 minutes on that.
We'll try again.
Because I get 500 minutes a month, and I probably only use
Okay.
about 20.
Oh.
Did anybody understand that one?
Is it going to ring? Hello? Hello? Sorry about that.
At the bottom, dear.
This is better.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Right, I'll just make sure everybody can hear you. Alright. Okay.
Okay.
So, can everyone hear him in the chat room, please? If you could answer me, please. This is author and Fortean writer Richard Thomas. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. And you're going to be talking to us about basically what you do and where you've... oh, good. They're hearing you loud and clear. That's good then. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. What happened there?
That's even louder. That's good.
Good. Right, okay. So, first of all, Richard, could you please, before we start, could you give our listeners a bit of a background on your on your paranormal origins and what got you involved in the first place?
Long story. Well, basically, I had a UFO sighting when I was 16, almost 17. I was a sixth former, and I started watching documentaries and reading books about the subject. And when I finished university, I started writing for a website called Binnall of America.com, and that led to me writing some articles for some magazines and my local newspaper, and eventually an e-book, which has become a paperback now, called Para News.
Right, okay. And so we'll get on to the e-book in a moment, and you can tell us more about that. My husband Steve's got some questions for you.
I've got a couple.
Can you hear him? Okay. Speak.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear him, Richard?
Sort of.
Right. I tell you what, I'll pass them over to you, and you can ask.
Okay.
Seeing as you have the phone there.
Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Your first question: considering the technology we know.
Considering the technology we know we have.
Do you think anything of the think everything up to 50% of UFO sightings could be us?
No, more than that. I think about of all UFO sightings, I think about 90% of them are explainable. They could be something to do with the weather or natural phenomena. And of the 10% that are unexplained, I think probably about half of them are secret craft, stuff that the US Army and Air Force probably developed.
Right. So obviously most of the people that things people are seeing could actually be the Air Force is testing things. Do you think?
Yeah, like the stealth fighter, they were flying that for years before most people found out about it in the Gulf War.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they've got other things that they're not telling us about that, flying around that, perhaps saucer-shaped craft and things like that. There's an excellent book about this subject. It's called The Hunt for Zero Point by someone called Nick Cook.
Right. Who?
I think that's Nick Cook. He's
Nick Poe.
He's an aviation guy. Nick Cook, sorry.
Oh, Nick Cook.
C-O-O-K.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he's not really a UFO paranormal writer. He's an aviation writer. He writes for something called James Defense Weekly, and that's as mainstream as you can get.
Yeah.
And he believes that a lot of UFO sightings are probably military craft. But not all of them. Even he says that some of them are probably something more outside a normal explanation, aliens or beings from other dimensions, things like that.
Right, but you say you have seen a sighting yourself?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So obviously they are out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, well not just somewhere, I think they're right here.
You think they're here with us?
Yeah.
Right, that's something we've always thought, isn't it?
They're
already here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the earliest UFO reports that I've seen, probably cave art in France of saucer-shaped things in the sky. Those are about 17,000 years old. So whatever these, those weren't top secret craft, were they?
No, definitely not.
Nothing that far ago.
So, right, so that was a UFO. Is there any more UFO?
No, the others are not UFO,
Right,
but
okay.
I mean, on that UFO thing, I'm inclined to agree with Nigel a bit here, that a lot of the so-called aliens are actually coming home, either that or the interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
So they actually originate from here in the first place.
I think they originate from here in the first place.
Yeah.
And Nigel says they could be interdimensional beings. What's your take on that, Richard?
The idea that there could be other dimensions, there could be like another civilization on this planet, but it's in another dimension, so we're not normally aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps that could explain some UFO sightings and also ghosts and other sort of paranormal phenomena as well.
Yeah.
I'm sort of I think that could be happening. I think that's possible, but it's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah. On the subject of ghosts, have you ever seen anything like that?
I've interviewed people that have said they've seen ghosts.
Right.
I've never seen one myself.
Okay. So, right. So
I saw something.
Sorry. Go on.
Well, I saw something that might have been a ghost, but it was sort of like it wasn't like a person standing in front of me. It was sort of like just sort of like a figure of a person, like a white figure standing in a window. But that was years ago when I was a kid, and maybe that was my imagination. I don't know. But I've interviewed people that have seen much more convincing things. Like I went to an investigation, a paranormal investigation at Swansea Museum,
Mm-hmm.
and I started talking to the staff there about things that they'd seen and figures on the stairs and stuff like that. So I arranged to come back the next morning to interview them about what they'd seen. And I managed to speak to one of the people there that was quite senior in the museum. I think he was a bit sort of embarrassed to speak to me about it because, he wasn't a paranormal type. He was a serious person, and I don't think he wanted to be associated with the subject. He asked me, well, who are you writing for? And all this sort of stuff. Anyway, I managed to get him to tell me his story. What he saw was, he thought he was a member of staff walking down the hall until the member of staff walked through a wall, disappeared.
Hmm.
So it obviously wasn't a member of staff, but his words to me were, he was as real as you are now in front of me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that's probably the most convincing story I've ever heard. And he was embarrassed to talk to me. He wasn't like a publicity seeker, or he wasn't a paranormal enthusiast.
Yeah.
Let his imagination carried away with him.
Right. So you obviously cover a lot of things in your book. One of the things is conspiracy theories. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one question we have here, we hear a lot of New World Order, even the Nazis were talking about it. Do you think it will ever come about, and what do you think is their purpose?
Well, first I think it's already come about, in my opinion, because the New World Order is basically a global government, and when you think about it, we're maybe not a global government, but we're certainly in a globalized world. There's no such thing as an independent nation anymore. We all rely on each other for goods and services and things. And, in America now, the economy over there is in turmoil. Now the entire world is in turmoil because of it.
Yeah.
So we're already in a globalized world. We're not in the world my grandparents were born into, where you had different nation states. So it's just a matter of how far we're going to go into it. Are we eventually going to get to a point where we have a president of the world?
Mm.
And of course that raises questions as, how are we going to pick a president of the world? Is everyone going to get a vote? Well, if that's the case, then the Chinese will basically be picking president of the world. And is that fair? So that's why I'm against the idea, and I think it's going to lead to problems down the road. What was the other part of the question?
The purpose of it.
Yeah, what do you think?
What's the agenda of it? Do you think?
Well, I think these are power mad people. Basically, they want to control everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if any office, you'll always have somebody who wants to sort of control the office. I think it's just a human thing that people want to control things, and it's the office is sort of like low level, and what I'm saying is it's the same at the sort of top levels of government and international politics. You get people that just want to control other people for their own glory or whatever.
On the subject of China, I think it's China anyway, it's been mentioned that the population needs decreasing by quite a few people. And as I say, I think it's China that's already limiting the amount of children a couple can have, despite the obvious being overpopulated. Do you think there is an agenda here as well?
Yeah, in China they've got the one-child policy, and it's led to just complete disaster in that country because people want to have sons instead of daughters. So now there's too many boys and not enough girls. So that's just an example of what that sort of, the sort of problems that human meddling can cause. Yeah, I think that there is a perception. If you watch the news, there's always the perception that there's too many people in the world and we need to do something about it. The environment can't deal with all these people. I don't think that's true. I think there's probably more than enough resources in the world for everybody. It's just it's not being shared equally.
Yeah.
The people at the top want to keep it all for themselves.
This is it. So I must admit there's been a lot of stuff as well with even in our country now. They're going on about bloody bedrooms and stuff like that, but it's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on in the world, to be honest with you.
If people, a lot of people listening to this, they'll probably be into ghosts and UFO sightings and things like this, but when you start talking about the New World Order and conspiracy theories, they'll they sort of tune in, they sort of tune out at that point.
Yeah.
I'd just say to them,
yeah, as I say, I just wanted to...
When you watch the news, and one day there'll be like a seemingly well-informed person on the news telling you that what Britain and Europe needs, it'll probably be like a two-child policy, sort of like what the Chinese have got, not as extreme. When you see that, you'll know that this is a subject that's very real, and it will eventually hurt you if you don't take it seriously.
Yeah, this is it, definitely. Right, so as I say, we would like to talk to you about your Paranews book. Where do you actually get the information for this? Do you get it from other people, and what actually motivated you to create it?
Well, it's basically a collection of my favourite articles and blogs I've written over the years. Where do I get the information from? Documentaries, books I've read, lectures I've watched, people I've interviewed, like the person I told you about at Swansea Museum who shared his ghost story with me, all sorts of places.
Right, sorry, I didn't expect you to stop so quick then. But so basically, how long's Paranews been out now?
The original ebook came out in October 2011.
Yeah.
The paperback came out October 2012. And the paperback, it's got about twice as much material as the ebook.
Right, and what, is there anything you're thinking of in the future? Is there anything else that you're thinking of writing for?
My next big book is going to be called Alien Invaders, and it's going to be my take on the UFO phenomenon. Right,
okay, and any schedule when that might be due out?
Well, I'm going to try to finish it before the end of the year, so it'll probably be out next year.
Right, okay. And how does your colleagues at work, because I believe you actually write for a local newspaper.
Yeah, I write a column for Saturdays, and I go in on the weekends sometimes to help on the news desk.
Right. How do they feel about your interest? Because obviously, being a paranormal investigator myself, people look at me a bit silly, but,
Yeah.
How do they view it with you?
Well, I've never broadcast it. I've never sort of, brought up the topic of UFOs and things like that. So I don't really know. I know they know that I'm interested in the subject because, every so often they'll have me promote the book that I've written a little bit, with an interview or something for the paper.
Yeah.
I don't know what they think. I think some of them. The one person I did talk about this with, she seemed very interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually the only one that's friends with me on Facebook. So, maybe I should talk to more of them about it.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe get their opinions. You never know.
Yeah.
So.
I wanted to keep quiet about it at first. I wanted to prove to them, that I am a a good writer
Yeah.
before I, brought the subject out, and then they can just make that their own mind, whatever they think.
Yeah. And somebody's just asked in the chat room, what's your opinion on mediums?
Mediums, psychics.
Psychics, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends which one. I think some of them are fraudsters. They're in it for the money, and I think some of them are for real.
Yeah.
And and it depends on which one you would ask me about.
Okay, right. We'll start with the ones that are out there for money. What's your opinion on them?
Well, the ones I've seen on the telly, they're usually quite impressive, to be honest. But you have to wonder, are they only showing the impressive stuff on TV? Like, what was his name? Derek from Most Haunted a few years ago. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was very impressive in the earlier seasons, but once he announced he was going, his last season, when he was on Most Haunted, it was just sort of, it was like the opposite. They'd leave out the stuff that looked impressive, and it looked to me they were just putting the stuff that made him look silly or fraudulent.
Yeah.
You see, so I think it's a lot to do with the magic of television, how impressive these people look. My inclination would be to trust more the people that are not asking for money.
Yeah.
If someone's asking for money, then, everyone's got to make a living.
Yeah.
Obviously, but my inclination would be to sort of, watch them if they're asking for money.
Yeah. Well,
and then the ones who don't ask for money, give them a little donation, after they've given you a reading or whatever, because they need some help, financially. Everyone does.
Okay. And do you actually believe in psychic mediums at all?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that everybody has some psychic ability.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's some people's hearing is better than others.
Yeah.
Some people's senses are more acute or focused than other people, and I think the people we call mediums, the ones that are for real, they've got basically super hearing.
Right. So, have you been to one yourself?
I've not been to one, but I've had relatives who've gone to see some, and they always seem to have a message for me, which is sort of strange.
Yeah.
My nan came and saw me a couple of years ago after she saw a psychic, and she said, "Don't worry about Richard, he's going to be all right." She just shared that with me.
Oh, thanks. I don't know, but anyway, sorry.
That's another point. Even if some of these people are fraudulent and they're not for real, at least they're cheering people up.
Yes, this is it. Yeah. So, again, I've been asked the question: why haven't you gone to one if you believe in them, or is it just finding the right one? Would you say?
It's just finding one that It's just finding one that doesn't charge 20 quid or whatever it is.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, if anyone wants to have a look at your book, Paranews, where will they find it, Richard?
The easiest place is probably Amazon.co.uk.
Right.
But it's on all the bookshop websites, Waterstones, W.H. Smith's, and my own website, richardthomas.eu. If you want a signed copy, that's where you go to get it.
Okay. And how much roughly is it these days?
$9.99 for the paperback.
Right. Okay. We're getting a bit of feedback, and I don't know where it's coming from. So
probably from the phone.
It might be from the phone. So I'm having to cut this interview short, I'm afraid. But thank you for taking the time anyway to come out come on the show, and hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime in the near future.
Well, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let us know if you have anything that that's coming up, and then we can always let anybody know.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Can I?
Hang up. I'm sorry to turn this off. 2 seconds.
Just hang up there.
That's better.
Yeah.
Right, go on.
Can I just say that mediums that charge 20 quid are actually quite cheap, and it's not so much what they charge, although some do charge rather a lot. It's more about reading itself.
I know some mediums out there charging £45 upwards for half an hour of reading.
I know some do that at the MBSs.
Well, exactly.
Well, actually,
so you've either got the super urine or you haven't, and I've got the super urine.
I didn't quite actually.
I know my urine's really strong.
Stop! Listen to me.
Especially after sugar puffs.
Excuse me. As I was saying, I just brought Richard on just to give his take in things and also to let everyone know about his book. Okay, so just a little bit of interest there. So, and I hope you enjoyed it. But you know, it's a pity about the phone. So, yes, I've got violence. Sorry. So what we're going to do is... I
mean, he does actually talk about the something that Nigel will probably be quite interested in.
Yes.
But I didn't really want to get into that. It's that... I can't remember the name of the group now. They have a big meeting every once a year, I think. And invite people.
Illuminati.
Don't be silly.
All right, not them.
Begins with B.
I don't know.
I'm sure Nigel will know it. It's the... Bidebeck group or something, something similar to that.
You know, like you said, when it comes to conspiracy, most of our
thank you.
most of our listeners are actually thinking about ghosts and stuff like that. So he didn't really want to go too much into that because he didn't want to bore everyone. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to have a break and do the paranormal news. No, we're not. We're doing paranormal events for you. So we'll see you soon.
We've got all the news right here. Don't go away.
Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
On the 26th of the 1st, Sixth Sense Paranormal are off to the Old Nick Theatre in Gainsborough. And now on to February. And the 9th of the 2nd, Spirit Watch are off to Tutbury Castle in Tutbury. On the 16th of the 2nd, Prestige Paranormal are going to the Avenue House in Finchley. March now, and on the 2nd, DI Paranormal are off to the Yorkshire Air Museum in Doncaster. Also on the 2nd, the Haunting Team are going to Alton Towers in Alton. On the 8th of the 3rd, Prestige Paranormal are doing a ghost hunt, dinner, B&B and history tour at Craiginos in Powys. On the 16th of the 3rd, you can do the Pendle Hill Experience with DI Paranormal UK at Pendle Hill in Sapton.
So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events, available now. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. Paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Yeah, welcome back to the show. That was the events coming up in the near future, and we're, as I say, we've got Neil here. And don't forget, if you want to advertise on paranormaleventsforyou.com, we will be bringing our new website up very shortly. Trifield Paranormal Network is now back online at trifieldparanormal.com, which is a social network, and it incorporates the actual paranormal events as well. And ktpf.co.uk does actually come under the Trifield Paranormal Network. So if you feel like going on there, and we will be updating it shortly because it has been down since the hacking, so we are getting round slowly to the sites and redoing them. So please bear with us, and we hope to see you on there. So get on there and post on some stuff. It's a bit like Facebook, but it's more of a social networking thing on the paranormal.
It's nothing like Facebook.
Oh no, you can still put your videos on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so, and start groups and things, so why not do it? Okay. Right, so we've got Neil here tonight with us, and we've got quite a lot to talk about. I will break halfway through because I want to get this haunted section out. Andy's late. You're asking where Andy is. If you remember rightly, he doesn't get home till about 8 o'clock or just after. So by the time he's had dinner and that, and then he'll be popping on, I assume, as usual. I don't know where anybody else is. We don't seem to have lost Doc Savage, but he's probably still working. So, but anyway, as you recall, last week we were talking about seances, Victorian séances, and all the, you know, ectoplasm and stuff like that. Okay, so we're coming back to this tonight, but there's a couple of things I need to address beforehand. First of all, the question has been asked for decades. Okay. Yeah.
Is that the only thing you remembered, John?
The question has been asked for decades. Why haven't psychic powers been proven yet? All right. Psychics have been studied for decades, both in and out of the laboratory, yet the scientific community and the public at large remains unconvinced. Yeah. In a recent book, Science and Psychic Phenomena, The Fall of the House of Skeptics, authored by Chris Carter, insists that the reason that psychic powers have not been proven is because scientists are unaware of the research or refusing to take it seriously, because clearly many scientists find the claims of parapsychology disturbing. But is this really true? Do scientists ignore and dismiss claims and evidence that challenge dominant scientific ideas? What do you think?
Well, I went through
being a medium.
I went through a series of tests back in 2001, and
he got probed.
No, I didn't get probed. I didn't get probed. No, but I went through. It was a bit
early.
It was done at John Moores University in 2001, and Kieran O'Keefe had a lot to do with this.
Okay.
Mr. Bachelor of Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I didn't say doctor.
Right.
But the results were unexplainable.
Yeah.
But scientists being scientists, they're not going to advertise that fact, because what scientists do, they stand there and shun. If they haven't got a scientific answer,
yeah,
then there isn't an answer to it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know you've got a lot of that going on in the first place. Yeah. So you know, trying to prove a scientist wrong is trying to get blood out of a stone, basically. The second reason why a lot of these, or a lot of proof hasn't come out, is because we're just not ready for it yet.
No.
You know, and Spirit will not take part in these ridiculous tests anyway, because they know, you know, we're not going to show ourselves. We're not going to, you know, conjure up magic and everything else just because scientists want to make a mock of it. But we're just not ready for that amount of showmanship, basically.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that science wants something that's repeatable to order.
Yeah, well, this is it.
And
you know,
it
they
just
say
doesn't happen that way.
Do it now.
Yeah.
You know,
it doesn't. Well,
you know, it's a bit like I was saying last week. It's that case of, you know, if I was saying to you, give me the lottery numbers, and you can't, then if they don't, if you was to do so and they didn't come up, then technically that would cause you a fake in a scientific point of view.
They would shun you.
Yes,
and they would shun you in public.
Yes.
You know. And it's happened to quite a lot of good mediums.
Yeah.
In the past. But Spirit will not. Spirit are against showmanship. Okay. No, I do shows, but I don't do shows the way certain mediums do shows. You know, my shows are very, very close. They're very, very personal. They're very and we stick to that rule.
Don't expect the dancing around and the theatricals, because you don't do that.
You know, and I don't stand there at the end giving my autograph.
No.
You know, so but in the spirit world, they're very against showmanship. They don't want people to be in this showmanship way. You know, and they regard that as showmanship. Yeah. And they're not going to take it from a scientist to say, right, I'll click my fingers, you pass that test, because they'll just laugh at him. You know, you don't just switch it on like that.
Yeah, Nigel said that also these tests are done over too short a time period.
Yeah, there's that as well. You know,
there was that one recently, just late last year, wasn't there? They were bringing a couple of scientists in. This guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a well-known guy, one of these scientific guy, and he was bringing these two people in to put them through the test. They failed the test.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he did say at this time, you know, the results didn't come back correctly, but we wish them all the well with their whatever. He didn't exactly diss them, did he?
He didn't say they were fake. He just said that at this time they didn't get it right.
So many of our listeners might recall that scientific experiment. I must admit, I can't at the moment.
Oh my God! I did not get probed by Kieran O'Keefe.
Yeah, Deb says she's going to start the rumour.
Oh no, that was actually Joe that's going to start the rumour.
Oh yeah, sorry, Joe. I apologise, Deb.
So, so that's your.
That's my opinion, synopsis. And I'm going to stick to that.
Right. Okay. Now we want to talk tonight. We want to carry on with. We only really touched on ectoplasm last week, didn't we?
We only touched on it.
No, what I mean is, when it comes to mediumship, we spoke about ectoplasm. Yes. We didn't actually touch on the whole seance technologies and what have you, did we? Yeah. So obviously, as I said, we've got the mediumship, trance and channeling, which we were talking about. We did touch on that when we was talking about the fact that you are a trance medium.
Yeah.
So do you want to just quickly, remind people what that's about?
I go into a deep sleep. The easiest way, to describe it. No, I don't. Basically, I go into a trance state, which is a bit like going into a coma, and then I allow the spirit entity to enter my body and either talk through me or show themselves through me in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And that's as far as it goes, really.
Right. Is it something you could actually do on the radio? In such?
Again, it's showmanship. It's showmanship. I don't know if my guide would allow that to happen.
No, what I was saying is...
I do demonstrations in public, as you know.
Yeah.
But that's different.
If I was to say to you, not tonight, obviously, because obviously you'd have to prepare for it, but if I was to say to you, right, okay, we would get, I don't know what it would look like with the lights off at the moment, but if we was to turn the light off...
Yeah, we'd have to use a red light.
Yeah, put a red light on the table...
Yeah.
And put you into that stance live on air. Yeah. Would you be able to do that?
Are you setting me up for a task here?
well,
not this week.
Well, the thing is, if he did that, we would need some proof at some point. So if he's going to do a demonstration like that, he would need a target, say like Nigel.
Okay.
To send one of his people that he works with on demonstrations.
Yeah.
To Nigel. Could that be done?
Yeah.
You would probably need a good length of time. I don't think people are going to stay.
I'm just saying that.
I think the best thing that we could, or what I can give to you is this: is when we go and do another live event outside in a venue, which we will be doing this year at some stage.
You mean a live?
Yeah, like we did at Morecambe.
Yeah.
I will do a demonstration there where.
There you go.
Some people, so
we'll keep him to that. Well, we've got to look for somewhere where we can do a live demonstration.
And for Leanne's benefit, the difference is that you've got some control over what's happening when you're doing it in front of a bunch of people and not live on air.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, "What's the difference between doing it to a group of people who are there with you and doing it live on air to a group of people?"
The possibility is when, and you know yourself, when I work in a physical way, I drain batteries, I affect electrical equipment, so I'd be a bit sort of nervous doing it in here because everything could go down, and you don't want that in the middle of a show. So.
No. I mean, Nigel also said that when we were talking about the tests and things. He said that James Randi, the magician, who most people will know, offered £1 million to prove these things. Yeah. He says he's backed by the US intelligence people. Who make sure that mediums look like a fool.
Yes, James Randi does make mediums look a fool. And end of story. And James Randi has seen proof over time. He just won't pay the money out.
So what should we do?
Simple
have to consider
James
this
Randi
one.
Can kiss my butt.
Excuse me.
Sorry, but there we go.
We'd have to consider
Can
this
I get
one.
A picture of that?
And when we're going to do
I'd
this.
I'd love to have a picture of that.
We'd have to consider when we're going to do this because obviously we're showing on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean we're going to be doing an outside broadcast at some stage this year. So
it's like Joe said, can we do it at a weekend when I don't have an event? Now the show is normally.
Well, I'm quite sure. I mean, Joe, we'll probably work together in the future anyway, Joe.
Yeah.
So
the only way we could do that would be to record it and put it out as a recorded show.
Yeah, that's the only way we can do it. So live on air. Well, this is it. It needs to be live on air. So we could do it, but it would need to be live on air. So it'd have to be an outside broadcast somewhere. So we'll set that up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
But unfortunately, it will have to be. It'll probably have to be a Wednesday night, unless we change the night that particular weekend. I don't know. To a weekend or something. I don't know. But it'll probably have to be a Wednesday night, I'm afraid. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Right. So that's basically what trance medium's all about.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
It's far more in depth. I mean, I could go on all night about trance mediumship.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think, I mean, we would talk about doing a seance.
Yeah.
We've got the Victorian Séances.
Yeah.
With all the paraphernalia.
Yeah.
We've got the normal seance that we do on investigations, is basically and circle holding hands kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is a seance and how should it be done?
A seance. I mean, the Victorians started with the objects like the trumpets and the bells and putting objects that were on a table. I mean, I started many years ago doing seances with luminous objects, so we could actually see luminous objects move, because we used to do our seances in the pitch black. It was in a dark place. But there's no difference in the way that you do a seance. As long as the seance basics is the same, you'll still get the same amount of energy, you'll still pick up the same thing, you'll still perform the same task that you want to do. So there's no difference at all in the way that it's done, as long as the basics are the same.
Which are?
Well, a seance, and the reason why you hold hands is because you're connecting energy around in what we call a circle, okay, and that energy has got to go around that circle, and it's got to be everlasting. Okay, so that's why we don't break hands during a seance and things like that. Okay, so that's got to be an everlasting circle of energy, and that energy is then used to pick up whatever spirit entity is in that room or in the area, or and sometimes spirit will actually locate that energy. They will target that energy and come through from spirit world. A bit like a portal. There we go, Nigel. A bit like a portal. It's the same basics as a portal or a gateway, and that's what you're doing in that seance. You're opening that ring of energy for spirit to come through.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically everybody is a collective battery for that spirit to come through, and the medium that would be in that seance would be the main attention, where the spirit would come through, and the medium would pick up whatever that spirit is saying or doing or whatever, and that's the general way it works.
Obviously, when we do these investigations, we do them in the night time, but obviously when it comes to spirit activity, it can happen any time, even with the lights on.
Yes. Yeah.
So why do we do ghost hunting at night?
Okay,
I know why.
We've covered this subject
I know why.
But
my theory is...
Yeah, but why do we do a seance in the dark?
Yeah, well, this is it. Why do we do a seance in the dark? The reason why we do paranormal investigating in the dark is obviously because night time, there's no traffic. Yeah. And also the night, no lights is supposed to heighten up your energy.
If we go on to the basics of trance mediumship,
yeah.
Okay, if I did transfiguration, I would have to do that in a red light, for the simple reason it would damage the spirit coming through.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of spirit energy, what you've got to keep in mind, is very, very weak when you bring it through. And that's why they use a lot of our energy to come through. Okay, so you're looking at very, very weak energies coming through. If they come through and they see a blast of white light, it's a bit like a coal miner who's been on a coal mine for 20 years, coming out into the open and opening his eyes into the sun, and that would damage that spirit. Okay, it works on that effect. We always do it in the dark, because it doesn't matter then what energy spirit we bring through. Okay, and then if we look at you'll get different spirits during the day and you'll get different spirits during the night, because some spirits will roam in the night.
Yeah.
Okay, because they can't take the light, they can't take the daylight. Some will roam in the daylight because it doesn't affect them. Okay, and that's why I always say, if you're on an invest, always use a red torch, because it's not going to damage anything that's there. That's going to be weakened by that light.
Well, I think you kind of answered what Lucky Deb was asking. Joe's just put there that spirits at night are shy spirits. But Leanne asked the question, why a circle? Is a circle significant? Can it be a square or a diamond?
The reason why
is the shape of a circle significant?
The reason why it's a circle is because it's easier for the energy to flow around. Okay, if you sat in a square, if you can imagine the energy you'd have it zapping all over the place. So it's just easy for the energy to flow around, and it's not really significant, but it's just easy for that energy to flow around. We
keeps the energy continuous.
Well, yeah. I mean, we when I started sitting in physical circles, we actually held a piece of wet string, which went round the circle because. What I was told, it was easy for the energy to come around the wet string because it was wet, but it didn't make any difference, to be honest. But
Deb's actually said, so I should go to see a medium in the dark. Well, you can go during the day, but
you can go during the day, but most
light,
mediums will work in the dim light anyway.
Yeah.
Unless they're using their guide to talk through, where the guide would be used to working in them conditions anyway. We don't always talk directly to spirit. We're a lot of the times we're relayed messages from spirit via our guide, and that's what they're there for. So
yeah. So now we've got these spirit boards, talking boards, and Ouija boards. Yeah, all sorts of things, as we said, and again, it's a tool, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
It's a way.
Yeah.
Is there any spirits? You get these stories about, I daren't touch. Take Jeanette for instance. We've got a rolled up banner one. Yeah, and she won't even touch it. Yeah, because as far as she's concerned, it's evil.
Yeah.
Some people have said, I've used it before, blah, 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 blah. I even remember, I think that's when we first met Reiki Debs, I went on to an investigation with Sixth Sense to the Galleries of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
There was a woman there, and they just said about the Ouija boards, they were there for use. And this woman said, can I ask, while you're using the Ouija board, can I go out of the building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And John of Sixth Sense turned around and said, well, unfortunately, the Ouija board is used in every session, so you'll be out there all night.
Yeah.
But she says she remembers that.
Yeah.
But as I say, people that can be like that because they've either played with it as a child or they've heard something.
It's the Ouija board's been bad press.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, a lot of things have happened with Ouija boards in history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I bet most people in the chat room now has messed with a Ouija board when they were in their teens.
Mm-hmm.
And they've all sat around the Ouija board drunk.
Yeah.
Let's have a drink. Let's have a few drinks. Let's get the Ouija board out or make our own. That little paper letters around the table. And all that's doing is you're bringing in lower energy forms. Okay, because one, you're not trained. Two, you're drunk.
Yeah.
And you become a target because you're opening this gateway for whatever's going to come through, and that's when the bad stuff happens. Okay. But a Ouija board is no difference to glass divination. Glass divination is exactly the same, but you will get more information from a Ouija board than what you will do glass divination. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever.
You have to excuse Steve. He laughs at what you put.
Yeah, I was just laughing at what
and he forgets that he's on camera when people are talking.
It's not so much the camera.
Go on. I mean the mic. Go on. What did Lee put? Go on. Tell him what you put.
He likes the idea of the wet string. He used it in Bosnia to communicate with his unit in Germany.
Used an radio.
I use wet string and 2 tin cans.
I remember doing that as a kid. Now I just said that's amazingly. I heard that some units use standing stones, crystals in them, to transmit in the field.
Yeah, the old crystal sets.
Yeah. So that's obviously about the Ouija board. Yeah, and we touched on trumpets, slates, tablets, and cabinets.
Yeah.
During the latter half of the 19th century, a number of spiritualist mediums began to advocate the use of specialised tools for conducting seances, particularly in leader-assisted sessions conducted in darkened rooms. We're back to darkened rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit trumpets were horn-shaped speaking tubes that were said to magnify the whispered voices of spirits to audible range.
Okay.
Have you ever seen one of them?
I have, yeah.
Can I just interrupt you? The question there about the Ouija board. I don't want to go back after you've started. Leanne said, "Is it true that you can summon the spirit into you via using the Ouija board?"
Okay. It's not a case of summoning a spirit. Okay, a spirit will come through regardless of whether you summon it or ask it nicely, or if they want to come through the Ouija board, they'll come through. Okay, and we've all had experience of that.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's a low energy spirit that wants to possess you, it'll possess you. Okay. Whereas if you want that spirit to possess you, then you've got to be trained for it to be able to get into your body properly.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the wall with that one, I'm afraid. I would say no, unless you're bringing in something that you shouldn't be bringing in.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Back to your trumpets. Have you ever seen anyone use one?
Yes,
of them?
I have.
You
Yes.
have. And
Yeah.
what was your theory on it?
Yeah, it works.
It works.
It works because it
Does it allow others to hear it?
Yes,
is that
it does.
What it is?
It does. A lot of the stuff that we heard was you couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a gobbledygook language, but it does louden the voice. You know, and it's the same sort of method when I do transmediumship. When using my voice box, you know, sometimes it'll come through very, very low. Sometimes it'll come through gurgle. Sometimes it'll come through loud. You know, so it depends on the energy that's with the entity.
Okay, the spirit slates. Now this consists of 2 chalkboards bound together when opened, was said to reveal messages written by spirits. Okay, is that...
Never used it.
Never used it?
Never even... I have heard of it.
Yeah,
but I've never...
I've seen it in old films and stuff like that, you know.
Again, it's just a tool that,
yeah.
you know, but I don't know. I can't comment on that because I don't know too much about it.
Right.
Well, I would think it was something similar to automatic writing.
Yeah.
Only you're not actually holding the pen.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know if you've got a chalk in it and the 2 slate boards together, you've got that little bit of movement through the chalk. And I suppose if you shook it up and down a bit, you're going to get some sort of, I don't know, what's name, you know. Well, anyway.
Who the is Alice?
I don't know. Seance tables.
Sorry, Nigel, I had to say that.
Were special lightweight tables which were said to rotate, float and levitate when spirits were present. Now, we've seen this happen with Simply Ghost. Tables have been, you know, table tipping and stuff like that. What's your theory on table tipping?
I like table tipping. And again, it's about building the energy.
Yeah. And the trust
it can be done. Yeah.
You know, you've got to, if you think you've got somebody on there pulling the table, then you've obviously got
it is trust.
Discreetly bring them off and put somebody on.
You can sort of get around that trust by swapping people as we go along anyway. And it's quite easy if you place the people around the table, you know, and what you're looking for. You can see pressures in fingers and things like that.
Yeah. It'd be good if you had. I saw it actually on Most Haunted, funny enough, MH, where they had a silken cloth over the table, and on some YouTube clips you can actually see that the actual cloth is moving. Yeah. But there's a theory maybe we could try using that or something. Some of them probably already do.
Right. I mean, I've seen a table move by itself without hands on. You know, the hands are just above it.
Yeah.
You know, and we've actually raised the table off the floor without even touching the table. You know, and that it's just followed our hands as we've gone up. And that's without anybody touching the table.
I remember we went to Golden Fleece once, going back to the glass, and the actual glass moved on its own.
The other thing with this is that trust is always an issue.
Yes.
The trust of people.
It is. And it's exactly the same with glass divination. It's the same as the Ouija board. It's all down to trust.
Yes.
You know?
This is it. Right. Spirit cabinets. Now we spoke on this last week.
Get back in your wardrobe.
Yeah. They were portable closets into which mediums were placed, often bound with ropes, in order to prevent them from manipulating the various aforementioned tools.
Yeah.
So, I have seen it again on TV where you've got this red curtain down and they're sat in it and what have you, and you know, but there's no need for it, is there?
The cabinet was designed again to prevent the medium from stepping out and moving things in front of them or whatever. Okay, but the other reason for a cabinet was it was supposed to centralise the energy around the medium within the cabinet, which made the medium or made the energy stronger around the medium.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no need for it whatsoever. You know, if you're doing a physical demonstration, the only thing I suggest is somebody to tie you up and I didn't really want to mention that again because I got blasted for it last week. No, I'm not into bondage or anything like that. but being tied up to a chair would suffice. You know, it works exactly the same way.
There is, as I say, I'll just go into this bit here. The exposure of supposed mediums who used the seance tools derived from the technique of stage magic has been disturbing to many believers in spiritual communication. In particular, in 1870s, the exposure of the Davenport brothers as illusionists and the 1887 report of the Seibert Commission brought an end to the first historic phase of spiritualism. Stage magicians like John Neville Maskelyne and Harry Houdini made a sideline of exposing fraudulent mediums during the late 19th and early 20th century. In 76, M. Lamar Keane described 1976 that is, described deceptive techniques that he himself had used in seances. However, in the same book, Keane also stated that he still had a firm belief in God, life after death, ESP and other psychic phenomena. The exposure of fraud by tool-using mediums have had two divergent results. Skeptics have used historic exposures as a frame through which to view all spirit mediumship as inherently fraudulent, while believers have tended to eliminate the use of tools but continue to practice mediumship in full confidence of its spiritual value to them. Now, when it comes to mediumship, let's talk about your mediumship in general.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you what do you you've obviously know about the spiritualism side of it.
Yeah.
Just go back to where you first of all, just briefly bring us forward to where you started and what have you, just to remind everyone.
Well, I started when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I saw. And you know, I can remember it to this day. I mean, I could go back even further than that.
Yeah.
Where we talked about past life regression on one of the radio shows,
yes,
where
we did.
I do actually have memories of before I was born, and I can still tell you those memories to this day.
Yeah.
You know, and my mum still gets shocked by them memories. Okay. But I started seeing when I was 4. My grandmother at the time was a medium in Liverpool, and she actually worked with Doris Stokes. So she fit in quite well with the fact, oh, you know, let's take him under my wing. And that's how I started. And lucky enough, you know, I had a great teacher, my grandmother. And it just went from there, really. I mean, my grandmother died when I was 11. And I sort of felt a bit lost then, because I was sort of out there on my own, didn't know what to do with it. My mum was scared of it, and things started to open up between the ages of 11 and 16. There's all kinds going on in the house. I scared my mother to death every day, cupboards banging, people coming to visit me, you know, there's all kinds going on. So it got a bit out of control, and then when I was 17, I met a medium called Carol Blood, who then became my next teacher, and it went from there, really. But I didn't actually go into the physical mediumship until around 15 years ago, but I've only been practicing it for the sort of the last 10 years. And I'm still working on it. You know, it's not perfect. It's not, you know, like I say, I only know the tip of the iceberg. I don't know anything, you know, below that. You know, that's, I don't confess into knowing anything. I'm just confessing to knowing what I've been taught. You know, and that is just a very, very minute fraction. Of what's out there to learn. So.
Now you did you ever go to a spiritualist church?
Yes, I did. I did the church circuit.
You did, right? Okay.
For a couple of years.
What's your feeling about them?
I'm not big on church, but it's a good training ground. You know, we've all got to start somewhere. We've all got to do the podium. We've all got to do the church services and things like that. And it is a good training tool. You know, it gets your confidence. It gets your confidence in your abilities. It gets your trust with your guide. There's lots and lots of reasons why I did that.
But in your opinion, I feel there's a book.
Stay away from spiritualist churches. They're all a bunch of psychic vampires. No.
Go on.
It's very, very close knit. It's very bitchy. They don't like people being better than them. And the hierarchy within the spiritualist churches are very.
I remember we actually went to a spiritualist church, didn't we? Because we wanted to join a development circle years ago, and the woman there that was dealing with it. Now, obviously, we've been learning about. We've got guides and all this, that, and the other. But as far as she was concerned, they were angels. Was it angels? Yeah.
She said there's no such thing as guides. They're angels.
They are angels, and she was basically saying. And when we started to explain, because I thought, well, I'm going to be honest with her. We are paranormal investigators. We're just trying to open up and this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, her demeanour changed with us.
Yeah.
She just, everything we brought up in our in our meditation and what have you. Yeah. It was a case of. Right, but you've got to get away from the fact that your guide isn't there and all this, that and the other. And she was so adamant, And we weren't allowed to mention anything that we'd thought we'd got in our, out of the circle. Yeah. We were saying, like, trying to pick up on people in the circle. I picked up on one guy, but I was frightened to say something. But when I told him, he said, thanks for that, but you should have said it in the circle. And he did take it, but I was just a bit frightened of coming forward. But she was very blunt with it, and she just didn't want to know, did she, really, after that?
No.
And we had that feeling of...
everything had to be worked her way. And
she didn't want to say, you know what I mean?
You've got to remember that a lot of people that go to these spiritualist churches go for one reason, okay? And that is for their own use. Yeah. A number of people go to get messages because they're desperate. A lot of people go because, they want to socialise with other people like a normal church would.
Yeah.
Okay. But a lot of people that go to these spiritualist churches are in it for their own good. They're in it for bad purposes, not good purposes. And they will steal energy from you. They will psychic attack you. They will be bitchy to you. They'll try and knock you down. And there's so much that goes on in these churches behind, this great veil. That people don't know. People don't know about this going on.
Andy, what do you mean I'm frightened to come forward? Never. I was frightened of coming forward with what I picked up in case I was wrong. I just wanted to get that out.
Can I just ask, as a medium?
Yeah.
Cheeky.
Without doing a meditation or anything with somebody, can you tell if they're psychic or not?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I have this marvellous ability of seeing people's auras. Whether I like it or not, it's there. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's there all the time.
Right, okay.
And that's what it shows in.
Okay, well, let's go down this road, shall we?
Should have shut my mouth there, shouldn't I?
I just dropped you in that one.
Thanks, Steve.
Right, so basically, you can see people's auras.
Yes.
Right, okay. And that gives you an idea of whether they are psychic or not.
Yes, well, it tells me a lot of things. Whether they're psychic, whether they're ill, whether they're moody, whether they're jealous, whether they're depressed, whether they're, dying.
So if you look at somebody and they say something to you, you can actually tell if they're lying to you as well.
Yes.
Right, okay. So it is actually.
I shouldn't even be saying this on air because I catch a hell of a lot of people out over time.
I know. Let me just go back to some questions. Hold on.
One is that it's not actually a question, but Nigel said that he sat next to a Freemason at a spiritual circle. He said he followed me around the meeting, and when I confronted him, he went into a mad rage.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know why he would do that.
Reiki Deb said, is there any other places you can go without going down the church route? There is, isn't there? But not many, I want to say.
If you're... I'm not shunning the church altogether.
No.
There are some nice churches out there, but, you've got to be very, very careful, because they are very, very cliquey. And it is good training ground. But you've just got to choose your church right, and doing that and finding the right church and finding the right people that are going to lead you in the right direction. Because some of them can be misleading. Like I say, they don't want you to overcatch them. They don't want you to be better than them.
Now the thing with auras, going back to the auras, Deb says that they can. She says they can change if you're near other people.
Yes.
So how does that work?
It's just an interaction of energy, really. You know, it works the same way as. I mean, if I look at a person's aura, that would completely change if they were stood in a séance circle. You know, well, everybody's would, obviously. It's like the old saying: we're supposed to lose our aura 24 hours before we die. You know, and that's why every time I fly, I always look at the queue at check-in to see if everybody's got an aura, and if nobody's got an aura, I don't get on that flight. That's me gone.
Right. Okay.
But everybody's got different sized auras. We haven't all got the same size auras. You know, it's not always the same shape. It fluctuates.
Yeah.
There's different colours that are recognisable. You know, so there's a lot going on within an aura, you know, and it's.
Nigel says you know him more than he does now, and Helen wants to know
what was his aura like.
What was his aura like?
Nigel's aura is quite high up, believe it or not. I would say at the time of meeting him, and it does change, you know, it does fluctuate. But there was a good sort of, I would say 8 to 10 feet high.
Yeah.
So he's got fairly good aura, which it did indicate to me that, you know, the guy is quite gifted.
You know, these MBSs, you get these aura photography things. Yeah. Deb says that when she goes to these MBSs, they touch you and then sit you down.
Yeah.
Which to her makes her think that that's not a true reading.
It's not, no, and I don't believe in them anyway.
No.
I mean, I've actually stood there at MBS. And I've sat there and watched somebody get their aura photographed, and the aura on the photograph is completely different to the aura that was actually photographed.
Right.
But if somebody makes connection with you before they take the photograph, then they've just interacted with your aura, so it's going to change it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Am I right in thinking, as in with Photoshop, if I was to say, because I've seen an aura taken with an iPad thing. Yeah.
Again, that's rubbish.
But what I'm saying is, is there a possibility of, you know, like when you're taking a picture, you can actually put a frame around it. So could you actually, there must be some sort of program there where you can actually already put them, you know what I mean?
Put the colours there yourself.
Put the colours there beforehand.
I'm sure there
and
is.
then take the picture with the colours around. You know, a bit like the mobile phone.
I don't. No, it's not.
We'll put it this way: we both got ours done in one of them booths at the seaside.
Yeah.
And our aura colours were very, very similar.
Yeah.
Only blue and yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were ours were practically the same. I mean, we can't see our auras.
No.
So we don't know if what we're being given there is right or not.
Well, exactly. How do you prove the photograph that's took at an MBS was your aura?
You just don't know, do you?
You can't tell, can you?
No.
You know.
So I'm wondering whether there's any app that you can actually say, I'm going to take a picture. With
there isn't an app, and there isn't any photography that's going to catch that aura. I will tell you that now.
Well,
okay.
The
only way that you're going to see,
an app over it, like a filter over it to get them.
The only way you're going to see that aura is with your third eye, with the help of either your guide or with spirit energy. That's the only way you're going to see that aura and interact with it.
So standing at somebody told me once to stand in front of a white wall.
Yeah.
And stare.
Yeah. That's an optical illusion.
Right.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
If you stand in front of something black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people stare at you, you are going to see an outline because that's you giving off that outline. It's an optical illusion.
Right. Well, we've got a new one in. Hello, Jacko. 76. Welcome to the show. We're just talking about mediumship and auras and stuff like that. So please get in with the conversation. And if you have any questions, then let us know. We've also been talking about various tools when it comes to paranormal investigating as well. So, back to the auras. Nigel said these cameras are only picking up the light spectrum in the electromagnetic field. This is not the aura.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, exactly.
As Neil says.
Yeah, it's not.
So, you know, but yeah.
I was going to say that actually.
Have you been watching Pointless?
No, I wasn't.
So obviously, mediumship it is actually it's quite an art.
See, I was born out, and and I don't like coming across big-headed, but I was born with every single sense. I can use every sense. You know, I don't just use clairvoyance or clairaudience.
Yeah.
I can use every single sense. And I can use them all at the same time as well, and that's why I find it quite easy to do the physical stuff as well.
Yeah.
And the aura thing, I've always had that as a kid. That's always been there. It's automatic. I can't switch that off. That's something I've not been able to do.
Right. And like we were saying last week, people have got the gift. It's just reattuning
everybody
yourself.
is born with the gift.
Yeah.
You know, and it's what you do with it. You know,
Yeah,
there are
children have actually seen spirit and stuff like that and spoken to them. And I always
all children.
think, yeah,
All children.
and
see
I
spirit.
always think to myself, I've come to the terms the fact that when you're telling them it's an imaginary friend, how do we know it's not a spirit they're seeing?
It's 9 times out of 10, it's more than likely.
Yeah, and then they really verbally knock it out of the child, don't
Yeah.
they? Sort of thing. But if a child, or when they get older, want to actually pursue this, to become a full-fledged medium, then that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But to reattune yourself, like I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Right.
See, what happens is everyone's born with a gift.
Mhm.
Okay, regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's born with it, and it goes in stages.
Yeah.
Usually, you start sort of playing around with this gift at the age of around 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it works its way up. It then sort of calms down at the age of 9 or 10.
Yeah.
It calms down. It starts backing off.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it comes back again full strength at puberty.
Mhm.
Okay, so at the age of 12, 13,
Yeah.
it comes back with a little bit of vengeance.
Mhm.
Okay, and starts working its way in again. Okay.
Yeah.
It then backs off again at the age of 16. Okay.
Mhm.
Then at the age of 19 to the age of 21, okay, it's back again, okay,
Yeah.
on full strength.
Right.
Okay, you've got to the age of 21 basically to do
Yeah.
something about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and to take up some sort of training or whatever, or you know, and recognise that.
Mhm.
From the age of 21 onwards, it starts depleting,
Right. Okay.
and that's why most people who train to become mediums later on in life
Yeah.
can't use every single ability. They can only go down the route of using one.
Right.
Okay, so they would
It's
either
the one
be
that comes more foremost.
the one that would be
Yeah.
the strongest.
Yeah.
That's sort of left with them. They would use that ability.
Okay.
Mickey Deb just said on here that she was too scared to say anything after she was told that there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Were you told that at a spiritualist church, Debs, by any chance? That's more than likely.
The other question is, why does it back off?
If you're not using it, then why would spirit
Hang
keep
around.
that abundance around you?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a waste of their energy, a waste of their time.
But wouldn't that be the case when you were younger as well? Because you wouldn't know how to use it.
Not at all. No, it's there for everybody to use.
It's
You
the
know,
adolescence
and if you
of it.
if you think about it, okay,
Yeah.
we are in the future going to be using more of our brain. Okay, what spirits are doing right at this moment in time is they're building on this and building it. Each generation becomes stronger and stronger and stronger spiritually. Okay,
Yep.
and this is what spirit want. Okay,
Right.
so looking sort of 30, 40 years down the line, okay, we'll probably be talking to each other without opening our mouths.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be mind reading or talking to each other, you know, via signals, you know, spiritually.
Yeah.
And you know, these changes are taking place now. Each generation is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, and that's what spirit want to
Yeah.
do. Okay, but if you're not using that gift, if you're not using that energy that's being supplied to you, if you're not using that information that's being given to you, then what's the point in keeping it around you?
Yeah, but what I
Yeah.
mean is when you're younger than that, before it backs off, you're still not
Yeah.
using it, and yet it's
You-
there.
You're using it when you're a child, okay, even though you don't know it.
How
Okay,
so?
Because you're speaking to spirit. It's an imaginary friend, apparently. You know what I mean? That's
which is usually the case 9
Yeah.
times out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
As Deb said,
you've got to remember that spirit also work with you in your sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, because and 99% of spirit will work with you in your sleep. The reason being is they've got full attention. Okay,
Yeah.
they've got full attention with you, so they'll give you stuff subliminally. Okay, in your sleep, and that's why a lot of people wake up saying things like,
I've
"Oh,
had a
did
dream."
I imagine somebody
Yeah.
sat on the end of my bed?"
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they do. It's a lot of it's done in sleep.
Yeah. like Deb said, where she actually got it from was people, her parents were saying there was nothing there, so she ended up being too scared to say something.
Yeah.
But if her parents had understood more, then maybe it would have been different.
Well,
for her.
I mean, that's why, you know, I was very fortunate to have my grandmother, who was already a medium anyway. So, you know, I was fortunate to be in that position, and a lot of people aren't. You know, and you see a lot of children. I mean, my children, you know, my two boys see. You know, and they're seeing quite a lot now.
Yeah.
I'm in that position to bring that out of them, you know, and train them later on to do what they want to do with that. So, you know, they're fortunate to have me around.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Jacko just said that he doesn't like the Spiritualist Church. On his second visit, he was asked to pay to be a member.
Well, that's another thing.
But
you know?
Having said that, we used to pay, was it £1.25?
£2.50, I think, or £2 to go in every week.
It wasn't a lot, but he was there every week.
Yeah.
It was supposedly towards the drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a church should be open, okay, and you do have a collection and things like that, you know. But
I know, I know the mediums tend to get about 30 quid.
If you went to a Christian church, they don't ask you for a membership.
No.
You know, and if you want a coffee at a Christian church, it's either free or you pay 25p.
Yeah.
You know, do it that way. A membership is absolutely ridiculous because they just want you to be a member of the spiritualist organisation that they've got up there.
This is it.
So,
but Nigel says my sister Linda goes to those in Donny. She lives in Retford. So perhaps that's somewhere that Reiki can go. Reiki Debs can go to.
Yeah, Reiki says, "Why am I always in the wrong area?"
Yeah. So.
What was that?
She's always in the wrong area or something. But yeah. So.
She's sure she's living in the wrong place.
You know. So basically, when you are a medium, then it's not just a case of that, is it? There's still work to be done, isn't there?
I'm working constantly.
Yeah. It's not a case of.
That's it.
You're a medium.
Well, put it this way: I do a lot of work that people don't see.
Yeah.
You know, and there's work that mediums do that people don't see any of.
Yeah.
I mean, just this week, the early hours of Tuesday morning, I had to go and help somebody who was suicidal. And then yesterday, I found out that a friend of mine's got cancer and just being diagnosed, which is terminal.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been helping both those people.
Yeah.
You know. Last week, again, I was dealing with somebody who was having suicidal depression and wanted to end their life. So people don't see that kind of work, you know, and it's constant. Plus, I always get constant text messages, constant, you know, asking what do we do in this case, that case, this information, that information, you know, and it's not just about. I always keep in touch with my clients, as you know.
Yeah.
Okay, they've always got my phone number. They're always there on Facebook or whatever, you know, and I'm there to help, you know. And people don't see that side of things.
But what I'm saying is, when you, like you say, when you've got this mediumistic skill, it's not a case of, right, for instance, on a theoretical level, I've got my diploma, I'm a medium. You still have to do courses and such, don't you? You still have to learn more.
Of course you do.
You know,
of course you do.
You're still working with your guides and everything, and
that
learning
never
more
stops.
lessons.
That
no,
never
that's
stops.
What I mean. It does. It's an ongoing thing, isn't it?
It is.
So you know.
Yeah. There's. I mean, like I say, I only know the tip of the iceberg. You know, I don't confess to knowing everything because that would be too vast. What I preach is just what I've been told. You know, and that's all. You know, whether people take that or leave it is up to them. I'm just passing on what information I've been taught by my guides on to other people.
Yeah. Right.
I tell you what, I find strange in a way with myself. I mean, I'm getting there. I'm learning. I wouldn't class myself as a medium as yet. Mainly because, I mean, I don't give messages and things like that. But that doesn't mean I'm not a medium. But I just don't class myself as that at the present time.
Okay.
But at the same point, I can. Well, I did it with the Invest recently.
Yeah.
I stood there and gave somebody advice on his guides and stuff like that, and where he's going. Don't ask me where that comes from. It just does.
See, this is it. I must admit,
So
we are learning.
I can give advice to people on spiritual matters.
Yes.
And even talk about their guides and what kind of direction they should be going or not going. But
Where do you think that's coming from?
I mean, I've gone you.
You've just said there, where the hell's that coming from?
Yeah.
You know where it's coming from.
I'm telling you, it's coming from.
Exactly. And what does he say to you?
I know. See, the thing is, though.
I know, but we're talking about two different things.
Yeah,
We're talking about when you get given names and things on Invest, and you go, where does that come from?
Right.
I know where that's come from when I'm on an Invest.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
But when I'm
is,
just talking to somebody, and
Yeah.
I seem to be giving people like information that I shouldn't really be that up on at the moment.
This is it. Take me, for instance. I'm learning my tarots, yeah? Right? When I do them, or when I have done them, I've been a bit unsure of myself, yeah? Correct, Neil?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, when I sat up here and did Leanne's, and she was asking me about them, I explained it perfectly.
Yeah.
And I actually thought to myself, where's this coming from? Literally, I thought, if I can tell her, Leanne, not her, cat's mother, if I can tell Leanne, right, you know, exactly what I'm doing and what it's all about, then why can't I put that into play, sort of thing? Which is basically what you're saying.
So why don't you put it into play?
Precisely. That's what I'm asking. I
don't
know.
Just listen to yourself, you know, and do it. You know? It's about doing what you're told. You know, if you feel uncomfortable doing that, then don't do it. Right. You know, it's a choice. It's your own choice in what you do along the way.
I mean, I don't get told.
I just pick up on there's a question from Leanne there. That's, do you feel like there are some mediums that abuse their ability? And what she's put there is by that I mean they force spirits to move on and not help them to be at peace.
I would say yes.
There are a lot of mediums out there that wouldn't know how to deal with moving a spirit on.
There's groups out there that I know of,
and groups
that actually go in to move spirits on, and they don't take the spirit into consideration at all.
No.
In my experience, I will never ever move a spirit on that is not supposed to be moved on, and if they don't want to move on, I don't move it on.
No, I mean, as a group, and I was asked this question when we went on the Invest the other day, do we move spirits on? And my answer is always, the only time we move spirits on is if we're asked to by the owner of the building, because obviously it's interfering with them, or if spirit wants to move on. Apart from that, they stay where they are. They're quite happy to be there and everything else, and just leave them alone.
Yeah. This is it. The only time I move spirit on is whether they're going to endanger other people, or like you said, if the owner wants them removed. But even when the owner has asked me to move spirits and they're not dangerous, I've left them anyway, because I don't feel right moving something that's supposed to be there anyway, and that's been there longer than him.
Just tell the spirit to calm down a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay, I'm going to we'll have a quick break. We'll just go through the haunted Staffordshire, and then we'll come back to this conversation.
And I will turn
can I just end this question, because it's just the last bit. What allows you to choose which spirits cannot move on? It's not my choice. It's done through my guide. It's done through a lot of queries in the spirit world. It goes further than my guide. So it's not down to my choice. So that's where that goes.
Right, Andy, there wasn't anybody talking about the noises in the sky. That was just an observation we mentioned earlier, which we're going to come back to in a bit, just for you. All right, because you said you had something on it. All right, so we'll brush back on that a bit later before the end of the show. Okay. And the chap we had on earlier was Richard Thomas. Unfortunately, we had to cut his interview short because the telephone line was a little bit unstable on the mobile. We was getting a bit of interference, and but as I say, he was talking about his book and a certain few other things, but that's all you missed. But you can catch it on the recap if you wish. We're just going to do haunted Staffordshire for now, okay? And as I say, we'll come back to this topic with Neil, because there's something I want to ask him about. I want to ask him his opinion and what he thinks. Okay, right. The 800-year-old Tamworth Castle is not only one of the best preserved and most visited medieval castles in England, it is also said to be the most haunted. It is reputedly the home of dozens of ghosts and the focus of repeated bouts of poltergeist activity. The two oldest traditional ghosts are the so-called White and Black Ladies. The White Lady is said to be the ghost of a medieval woman who threw herself from the battlements when she discovered her lover was dead. Her ghost walks the battlements wailing and bemoaning her loss. The Black Lady is allegedly the spirit of a 9th century nun called Editha, who was abbess of the nearby Benedictine nunnery of Polesworth Abbey. It is said that Editha rose from her grave to terrorise the Baron of Tamworth Castle when he threatened to close the nunnery in 1139. Apparently she never returned to her grave and continues to haunt a staircase in one of the bedrooms of the castle called the Lady's Chamber. In 1949, a team of ghost hunters claimed to have photographed the Black Lady after a picture was taken of the staircase. When strange noises were heard, the photograph shows what appears to be a hooded figure descending the stairs. Now, I did put it on the KTPF page, and for everyone to have a look at, so if you can put your views there. Nigel said it looks like a very shortened shadow cast on the handrail, straight edges, and the dark area under the handrail. The face may be an illusion caused by the rough contours of the wall the shadow is on. The edges look too straight and clear-cut to be for it to be a form of energy spirit. Hope I am wrong though. That's what Nigel Mortimer said, but you can see it. What do you think, Mr. Munnerley?
In my eyes, that's not an entity. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell it's either being manipulated in some way, or superimposed, or.
Okay.
I mean, I know we're going back to the 40s, but
yeah,
that's just not. It's not right. You can tell. You know, it's like the 1940s Photoshop.
Andy 707 said it doesn't look human. Right.
It doesn't.
Okay.
No, it looks like ET or something. You know. That's what I say. It looks like ET.
Okay, Isaac Walton's cottage. This 16th century cottage in Shallowfield near Stone belonged to Isaac Walton, author of The Complete Angler. A ghost named Miriam makes her presence felt now and again. Nothing is known of her history or connection with the cottage, but many visitors have sensed a presence or a drop in temperature in different parts of the building. In fact, a visiting psychic has detected a female presence both up and downstairs at one end of the building. Miriam is known to turn lights and other electricity equipment on at her whim, and people can feel her presence by a distinct drop in temperature. She is mild-mannered, though, and people do not fear her, but rather welcome her presence in the home. The surrounding area has been reported sightings, including a man in 17th century costume walking through a hedge and following a long disused footpath before vanishing from sight. Now, just going back on that briefly, when people say, "Oh, I saw him walk through the wall," or "I saw him this, that, and the other," our theory is that it used to be a door. That's what we're seeing. I was like, if they were floating, the floor used to be at their height, and it's been changed. Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay. So that's that one. Right. Okay. And the lights switching on and on. What would you say that was? How would they actually do that? Is it energy again?
Again, it's energy. You know, the two biggest forms of energy that spirit required to come through to this plane is water and electricity.
Right. Okay. Western Hall, Stafford. With its tall, spiky silhouette and dark brooding appearance, you could be forgiven to mistaken it for some long-forgotten Gothic film set. For some years after 1898, the house was used as a pauper lunatic asylum. During the Second World War, it was requisitioned by the army, but the ATS girls stationed there chose to sleep in tents rather than inside. The locals of the surrounding area have grown up hearing tales of the Grey Lady who walks at Western Hall. Indeed, workmen carrying out maintenance during its abandoned period refused to go alone into the hall. Within days of opening in September 1996, it was discovered that the bar area had been mysteriously cleaned each morning with no cleaning staff on duty. This was doubly strange as the alarms were on throughout. According to a team of researchers, this impressive 17th century pile is haunted by 4 different women, a nurse and 3 ladies dressed respectively in green, white and grey, although it could be a single spirit with an extensive wardrobe. Anyway, all 4 are said to have been seen inside the hall and in its immediate vicinity. Now there's a lot of these white ladies, aren't there, and black ladies and grey ladies. You know, is it just they're obviously naming it because that's what they're seeing?
It's just a name.
It's just a name. But this possible scenario that there may be only 2 ladies or 1 lady with an extensive wardrobe. Yeah, we did hear about a pub in Wales that we said we could go back to any time. Apparently, there's a ghost there, one of the ghosts of a man, and he comes in, and the way he said it, he changes with the season. Okay, in the winter he'll have a duffel coat on, whatever, and you'll see him in the summer again sitting on where the fireplace is, and he'll have just a waistcoat on and whatever. You know, is that possible?
Of course it's possible. Of course it's possible. But what you've got to remember is some spirits like to, a lot of spirits are comfortable with people either recognising them or being comfortable around them. So they want to make themselves, you know, as comfortable looking and as sort of to be able to mix in with people without, you know, people making too much of a fuss and being too scared and everything else.
Right.
That's another one. If you walked in the winter in just a shirt and a waistcoat, I think it's weird.
The photo they're on at Debs is actually on the KTPF community page.
Anyway, but it's just,
okay.
You know, it's just that way.
It's just above the sound, harp sound video. So if you want to go and have a look, okay. Right, the next one. Even the name Shugborough Hall is chilling. Okay, the meaning derives from Shug, a devil or evil spirit, and Barrow refers to a burial mound. Situated in Milford, Stafford, it is a very popular visitors attraction and is complete with working historic estate. The story begins 300 years ago in 1693 when William Anson demolished the manor house and built a 3-storied house, which forms the centre of the house today. Thomas was the brother of Admiral Lord George Anson, whose fortune was made by his victories against the Spanish in the 18th century. This financed Shugborough's growth from manor house to stately home. Thomas Anson was alleged to be a member of the notorious Hellfire Club. But apart from the amazing history, lots of paranormal activity can be found. Such reports include, in the state bedroom, this is the room where Lady Harriet apparently died in childbirth, and she still lets her presence be known. The room itself is said to be chilly, and she leaves her imprint in the bed every day. Kitchens, a former housekeeper is said to haunt the kitchen on a regular basis. She is heard only by the sound of her rustling skirt passing by, although there have been reports of a figure being seen passing by the windows. In the corridors, this is where Admiral George Anson is often heard slamming doors. It is also where a former lady of the house is known to gently knock on doors as well. There has also been reports of a lady that has been seen wearing a riding habit. Children have been seen, and the sounds of rattling ladders. Perhaps it's a ghost of a peeping Tom as well, you never know. Here's a brief one. In Bush Drive, Rugeley, a yard brush was seen sweeping a path without human help, and a lawnmower rolled uphill at this residence. Other more normal poltergeist occurrences include the ringing of doorbells and self-opening and closing doors. Some attributed the paranormal happenings to be ghosts of 3 people killed in an aircraft that occurred in 1938 on the corner of Fortescue Lane and Green Lane. I think I'd like to see my yard brush get up and do some work.
I think I'd like to see all the bushes get up and do some work.
Yeah, that'd be an idea, wouldn't it?
Hoover as well.
What do you say, ladies? And the last one, at Brindley Bank, just outside Rugeley, the body of Christina Collins was discovered in the Trent and Mersey Canal on the 7th of June 1839. She was carried up the infamous local Bloody Steps into the Talbot Inn. Christina Collins was 37 years old when she was brutally raped and murdered by 3 drunken bargemen who had agreed to transport her from Liverpool to London to join her husband Robert Collins. The men were captured and 2 of them were hung, Captain Owen and George Thomas. The third, William Ellis, was transported. The fourth member of the crew, a young teenage boy named Mewson, was cleared and released. Originally made from sandstones, the steps have no doubt been replaced several times, but local legend has it that these sometimes ooze blood, and her ghost appears upon them. Christina's graves can still be seen today in the churchyard at St Augustine's, and the story of her murder was an inspiration for an Inspector Morse mystery first broadcast in 1998 entitled The Wench is Dead. So I don't know whether you've...
Joe just said it's one of the worst places she's ever been.
Is it really? Yeah, so... Blood oozing on steps.
I think Rugeley as a whole, I must.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I've been a few places.
The wench is dead. Yes.
I think by that she means that it was crap.
Rugeley itself is a whole. Put it that way.
I've never actually been to Rugeley as far as I know.
Yeah. So any Inspector Morse fans, it was actually the 1998 episode entitled "The Wench is Dead." So it was just typing that when you said it. Yeah, that's right. So I believe how John's materialised somewhere.
He did. He came up.
Yes, I noticed his name. He said good night. Oh, he's gone again, has he? I don't know.
He come in and went good night.
Oh well, never mind. Perhaps he's gone again.
I went where you been, JW? And he said good night.
Never mind. Right. Okay. Back to Neil.
Can I just make an observation?
Observate.
Last Christmas, for 3 nights, we had Spirit walking up the stairs. And we heard them on the stairs.
And then one night they knocked on the door.
And then on the 4th night they actually knocked on the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Could this be Bob?
I don't know.
It could be Bob.
Can I just explain who Bob is? Right, let me just explain. I was going to do a meditation on the other night. I can't remember what it was now. But
2 days ago.
2 days ago. And I decided I was going to have a nice long bath, and then I was going to go into my boudoir, my bedroom, and sit there and relax listening to some music, which just happened to be waves in the background with some gentle music, okay? And just as I was settling down, Roxy decided she wanted to come back on the bed, and she was roughing at me, but I just ignored her. And she's very high-pitched, so I've got no worries there. And basically, what happened was, I decided as I was ignoring her, I thought Steve had actually come in, called her, picked her up, and shut my door. Because what I'd heard was somebody go, Bob. A really deep noise. It sounded that went, Bob. Right? But it was deeper than that. And it wasn't on the music. And when I woke up from the... good night, Joe. When I woke up from the meditation, even though that scared me at first, getting into the meditation night to relax myself, I actually expected to see the door to be closed. But it wasn't. And Steve said he didn't come into the room. Now, we're wondering whether this could be Bob. That could have spirits that we have here be called Bob and not Albert. Or Charlie, as some mediums have suggested.
Not me.
No, it wasn't you.
No. We also have to take into account that it may not be our resident friend who's been with us since we moved in 2000. It could just be somebody who was requiring some assistance from yourself.
It may be.
It could
you
be
never
that. It
know.
could be lost soul. I mean, don't forget, both of you are sitting in a circle at the moment, so you're progressing spiritually.
Yes.
You know, so things are going to up a gear. You know,
I'm actually seeing a hell of a lot of movement around the house.
Yes,
Hell
we
of a
are
lot of
actually
movement.
starting to see it, and it's not our guest.
No. No, it's not our guest.
No.
You will start to feel more, see more, you know, and the usual.
Bob. No, it didn't go like that. It went Bob.
And he wasn't a fish
Bob.
neither.
Bob.
No, it wasn't. Now, talking about residents.
Yes.
Stop bobbing. Talking about residents, as I said, I found this. This is a bit too long to actually go through, so I'm going to try and pick stuff out. Okay. I'd like your opinion on this, but obviously we don't really want to diss the young lady, in case she ever hears it.
Okay.
Okay, this was found in the Sun, and I learnt today that Liverpudlians don't really like the Sun.
No, we don't.
But so be it. The ghost of my ex-boyfriend scares away new lovers. Okay. When Sharon Grant and Sean Elderston fell in love in their 20s, they vowed never to be apart. But Sharon could never have imagined that pledge would hold true even after Sean's death 13 years ago. As she believes his ghost now scares off her new lovers. Okay. The 26-year-old with sales assistant Sharon was 26 with 2 children from a previous relationship when she met 24-year-old market trader Sean and became smitten. Her world then came crashing down when he died of bronchial pneumonia at the age of 37. After falling ill, he had told her that if he died, he didn't want her to date anyone else. But she had no idea how those words and Sean himself would come back to haunt her. 5 years since Sean's death, Sharon, now 44, claims to have had 3 relationships dashed by her ex, appearing from beyond the grave to give her fellas the fright of their life. Sharon said she started to notice Sean's ghost around the house soon after he died, before she began dating. She insisted she enjoys having him around because he was her love, the love of her life, but he is meddling with her love life that she cannot stand. She said that Sean was everything I could ever wish for in a man. He acted like a dad to my children from a previous marriage and gave the family stability and happiness. His death was a huge shock to me. He'd always said to me, Sharon, we'll be together for life. No one will ever come between us. And I took comfort from that, and I promised him I wouldn't date anyone else if he died. But when he had passed away, I wasn't sure I could live up to the promise I'd made him. I felt I had my whole life ahead of me. When the spooky goings-on started, Sharon knew it was Sean's ghost playing the tricks. She said strange things would happen. When Sean was alive, he moved the pictures in our house and made them crooked. It was a joke to him that he knew he drove me mad. A few months later, after he died, I noticed that all the pictures had sometimes been wonky. I know it was Sean telling me he would be there, still be there, and rather than being freaked out, I drew comfort from this. Yeah, and that he was still around, straightening the pictures and shouting, Sean, will you cut it out? Occasionally I heard footsteps on the stairs. I knew it was him and just left him to it. There was no need to be scared, but she says she met a new man and brought him back home. Now this is the sort of thing that's been happening. On this particular night she made a meal, we opened a bottle, it was quite romantic. It was a sad moment as bringing her home a man felt as though I was severing the link with Sean and moving on. But after eating, we settled on the sofa and I went to kiss him and there was a crash in the kitchen and I heard footsteps running upstairs. I went into the kitchen and the plates we had eaten off were on the floor smashed. I could still hear footsteps upstairs and went up and I knew it was Sean. I went into my bedroom and snapped, don't spoil this for me, Sean. But the next time my boyfriend came round, I was in the kitchen when he ran in and said, someone has ruffled my hair and pulled it. After then he refused to come round at night. But another day he was visiting and I heard him knock on the door. I tried to get up from my bed but I couldn't move. I felt like something was pinning me down and I had to say, get off, Sean, now. After a struggle I was finally able to get up and answer the door. We dated for nearly a year, but for the last 6 months he refused to come to my house after all. After all this. Now she's had a couple of other guys in between. She said the final straw with him was that she opened the door to him and it was then slammed back into his face. And she said I had to tell him that it was my ex and that it's something we would have to live with, but he just went white as a sheet, and the relationship was over. She was with another guy, so she did ask him to leave her alone, right? She wanted him to, but he wouldn't do it. She went with another guy, met another guy rather, and apparently the TV was off and he could see his face in the reflection and somebody sitting next to him. He said, I don't believe in ghosts until then, but I'm not sure now. It was weird, I just wanted to get out. Yeah, and they've stopped dating, but they're still friends. He said, I couldn't be with someone who was being haunted. The last one, after all this, was that she met this guy and they came over for a nightcap. We'd been there a couple of hours having a chat in the front room, and when I went into the kitchen to get another drink, suddenly I heard him run out the front door and down the road. I shouted after him, but he looked terrified and kept running. I don't know what Sean did to the bloke, but he scared the living daylights out of him. I still have his jacket, but I can't contact him because I haven't got his phone number. Sharon is now coming to terms with the fact that Sean may always interfere with her relationships. A friend told her that she should get the place exercised, but I'm not sure she's not sure she wants to do that. Although Sean has been a pain, I do like having him around. A part of him is still here and I find him comforting. She actually has some nights where she sits there talking to him for hours on end. I know he's there, I can feel his presence. I was never interested in ghosts and ghouls before Sean died, and I had no opinion. Now I know they do. I tell Sean I need a physical relationship with another man, but it doesn't mean I don't still love him. I can be there for hours chatting. I hope he will listen, but he needs to know, let me get on with my life. Now, obviously, the one boyfriend there actually agreed with this, that this was actually happening. But what's your theory? What would you say? Say we was actually approached with this.
Yeah, what's your take?
How would you take on this?
Well, it it sounds like she's seen a hell of a lot of blokes, doesn't it?
No, she's only seen 3.
I'm only joking.
3 since he died.
Just listening into that, and you know, there was a pledge made that I'll never leave you. I'll never.
Yeah.
You know, she made a promise. I'll never date anybody else. No, she's got to break that pledge. She's got to break that promise. She's got to, you know, talk to him in a way that, you know, he's not there to protect her anymore. He's not there to you know, interfere with her private life anymore, because it, you know, that's severed now. You know, that's.
See, I originally thought, well, maybe because of that bond and that
It was a pledge. It was a promise. You
promise. Excuse me. Maybe it's affecting her with other relationships. But like Steve said, one of the guys have actually confirmed it to the newspaper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, if the guys are going to the house, you know, and experience things, then it's there, isn't it? You know.
Yes.
But you know, to sever that pledge or to sever that promise would be the first step.
Yes.
You know, and to talk openly to both Sean and the lady in question, you know, and separate that issue.
Yeah.
You know, and to make sure that he doesn't involve himself in anything further.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would seem as if she's tried to do that, by saying that she still loves him, but she needs to move on.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she has actually tried to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, people who, you know, pass on, you know, we'll always love them. You know, we'll always carry them in our hearts. And you know, I still get visits from my granddad. You know, and he died when I was 13. But you know, that has never changed the way I feel about him. You know, he'll always be there as that guy I knew back then.
If, for instance, the pledge pact, so to speak, wasn't made, could it be possible that a devoted partner could actually...
It can be possible, yeah.
You know,
it can be possible.
Interfere in that sort of way?
It intrigues me sometimes, because most of the time when we move to the spirit world, all that's supposed to go. You know, we're not supposed to endure jealousy or pain or anguish or you know, depression or illness. You know, all that's supposed to go. And so it just alarms me a little if there was a jealous streak there, that he wouldn't be in the right place in spirit anyway. So that would have to be looked at. You know, would he be in a lower energy? Would he be in a lower place in spirit than where he should be? Has he moved on properly? You know, so them things would have to be looked at as well.
Yeah, Nigel said it's quite sad, really. He just needs to understand that he doesn't own her and can show his love by leaving her to live her life. Jacko said, my dad told my mum before he passed if she had any relationship after he died, he would haunt her. She has been a widow for 13 years. Deb says, so watch it, Lee. I will come back and any woman sets foot in my house, I will scare her out. I'm with you there, Debs. And bring the dog with me too.
See, this is a pledge we shouldn't make.
This is
you know,
it.
This is these promises we shouldn't make in this world because it just carry on. It just carry over.
When you think about life after death,
yeah,
right, okay, and people, me and Steve say it, I must admit, you know, we're together forever and beyond and all this, that and the other, you know what I mean, even afterwards.
Yeah.
It's words that you say, it's an endearing love thing, isn't it, really?
Of course it is.
Right.
Of course it is.
Basically, I sit there and I think to myself, well, take Steve's nan, for instance. Yeah. We had a little bit of an in-joke about it. She was married, what, 3 times, Steve? Yeah. Right. And out of all her husbands, right, she loved them all, basically, but out of all of her husbands, there was only one really that she really did love, more than, you know, sort of thing, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Right. And I said, like, her latest husband, he died before her. And we were saying at the time, you know, when she gets up there, wherever she's going, you know, are all 3 men going to be standing there waiting for her, you know what I mean? And, you know, and that sort of thing. And, you know, and because they say your loved ones are there. You know what I mean? So when you get up there, your nan's going to be there, and your mum, if your mum's passed, or whatever. If you've had, or you've survived so many, 2 or 3 wives, or 2 or 3 husbands, what do you think? What's your scenario on
they're all
that?
going to be up there, you know, regardless.
As long as they're not arguing each other. She's mine. No,
well,
she's
no,
mine.
I mean, you know, think about it. You know, all the 3 husbands are going to have their own family, their own friends, their own groups to go to. They're going to have their own spiritual work to do.
So
you know, so I would say on that it would possibly be the one that would be loved the most. That would be the one that hangs around more. But you know, not necessarily. You know, they'll all be up there at some stage.
You think so? Now, going back to some of these haunted things that I did read out, there's a lot in here that mentions poltergeist activity.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your theory on this poltergeist activity? I've heard loads of stories that it's all revolved around the kids take the Enfield, and there was another one. There's one up in Pontefract as well. You know. I've also heard that it's all about the quartz in the area or something or other. So what's your take on poltergeist activity?
Well, you know my dealings in poltergeist activity.
Come on, tell me.
Yeah, it happens. You know, and a poltergeist is a low energy. It's a noisy spirit, as they say, but it is a low energy spirit that comes through. That can cause harm. It can cause illness. It can cause you know, bad things to happen within families. It can cause problems with children. You know, and the list is endless, really. You know, so it's not a theory. I have dealt with poltergeist activity. You know, so it's there. It's real.
Yeah. I'm just going to try and find this thing on what's name, because we're going to go in now that Andy's actually with us and he's settled in and what have you. We're going to go back to this conversation that we had, which was part of the observations. Okay. He sent me a message and said, asked whether it was okay. He hasn't done many interviews before. So, and he said, sorry if you didn't do well, bless him. No, he was alright, he was okay. I think it was me more than anything, to be honest with you. Right, okay, 2 seconds, let me just get back to this, and I might be able to hear it through, hold on, the laptop might be a good idea. 2 seconds. If you go on the page, Let's see, are we actually going to hear this? Hold on. Right, this is the actual loud booming. Hold on, let's just get rid of the skip. Get rid of the adverts. That's the only thing about this. I'm going to play this for you. I think you can hear it. Sorry, I was too far away. Hope you can hear that.
It's even got my dogs barking.
Can you hear that okay, guys?
It's even got my rabbits standing up. Check them out. That's scary shit. Holy. Sounds like, oh no, in the sky, hard to see, really hard to see. Like fucking just all clouds too.
Oh, excuse the language.
What's that, crazy? What's that?
He's talking to a dog, by the way. Imagine hearing that loud in your garden. Okay, that was January 2012. Right, oh, this is January 2012. This is another one. Really, Nigel?
Initially.
Yeah.
When it started.
I'm not sure where that is, but it could be Bigfoot. This is troublesome. Things. Tiresome. Here we go. This is a report.
So again, investigators are still trying to determine what it was. I'm going to read some information. I just got an update from our desk back at the station. Emergency officials in Lower Bucks County have also received numerous calls about a large boom and the ground shaking, just like some folks were describing out here.
So far, no explanation of what happened here, but it really got the attention of a lot of people, even as far away as Ben Salem, reporting that they felt that their homes were shaking. Police radio have received a lot of calls. The police have received calls.
There's been a lot of buzz over the last few weeks about strange sounds being heard in the atmosphere. People around the world and here at home have reported hearing some bizarre noises. The latest were recorded in the Battlefords last weekend. John Baglieri has more on the strange occurrence that could have a very logical explanation.
It came in many forms last Sunday night. To some, it sounded like trumpets. To others, a mariner's horn. North Battleford's mayor says he can't explain it.
What I was hearing was what I experienced as a possibly scraping.
Mike Halstead was lying in bed when his phone rang. Calls and text messages came in from his friends saying they too had similar experiences.
That's when the goosebumps got me, and I kind of thought, yeah, it's awfully strange.
Hey, 93.3 The Rock?
The next day, the local radio station The Rock got flooded with over 40 calls and Facebook messages, each person wanting to know what that sound was last night.
I don't think I've ever had a response that big about something, and it's interesting, right? Human nature, people just want to know what the sounds are.
It's now days later and the city is still abuzz with talk about the sounds. Everybody with their own guess, estimation, or explanation as to where they came from.
I've heard Jesus is coming back. I've heard that it's 2012, the world is ending.
This phenomenon stretched beyond North Battleford. Similar experiences were reported in Saskatoon, northern Saskatchewan, and parts of the U.S., even in Europe. U of S professor Jean-Pierre Saint-Maurice says there is a natural explanation.
Somehow they're picking up noise from an environmental antenna that happens to be there. That is electromagnetic noise. Nice natural noise, but really actually it's not a noise, it's electromagnetic waves emitted from the aurora above our head or emitted from the radiation belts a bit more to the south.
Maurice says it's normal and there's nothing to worry about. Whether a scientific explanation will satisfy all those people who say they heard something they can't explain is up in the air.
Or is it? Yeah, so what do you think, guys? What do you think, Neil? Freaky? I suppose it would be if you heard it.
I don't know. I mean, I've got my own theory that it's the Earth plates rubbing together, and that's bouncing off the atmosphere, and that's what we're hearing. Yeah, it's an echo.
Right. Okay, Andy, you wanted to talk about this. Whether you want to give us a ring or Skype me, it's up to you. But you say if it's normal, why has it suddenly started? Sounds like a foghorn, Jacko, sorry. So is it a regular noise phenomena out there? I think it's something that's heard every so often, isn't it, Neil? Is it heard every so often?
I think the main phenomena with it was last year when it happened all over the world at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, well this is it. So
it all seemed to happen around about the same time in different places all over the world.
And he said walking over Basildon Golf Course a few years ago and I heard something like that. I heard what I can only call a booming, whooping sound several times. It seems to come from the sky. Dev said if it was regular, why did people start calling the police? So I suppose it's a bit. That was really loud, that first one, wasn't it?
I just think it's the Earth repairing itself in some way. You know, I think it's a natural noise, and it's bouncing back off the atmosphere.
Right. So you think there is a lot of stuff out there that we don't know?
Of course there is. I mean, and as you said, the plates don't move that fast. Well, who's to say that they don't? You know, we don't know what goes on in the centre of the Earth. You know, because nobody's been down there to have a look. You know, nobody's been that far. You know,
and it's your explanation is actually quite logical, because sound bouncing around the contour of the Earth would put that sound all the way around the Earth.
Yeah, I suppose
of course it would.
So it would only need to happen in one place for it to reverberate.
Exactly.
Deb's there came up with an answer. She said, "Surely they would be used to it, or if it was normal, they would know what it is, or is it just the natural sound of the Earth? Nothing to worry about." Andy says, "Sorry, Neil, tectonic movement."
Yeah, it's the movement of the plates, but we don't know what goes on in the centre of the Earth. Nobody's been down that far to see what happens, you know, and it's. I think it's something within the Earth that's it's either repairing itself or it's moving, and it's all rubbing together, and that's the sound that we're hearing.
Well, perhaps we can contact somebody further and see whether we can find out more.
Just put one little thing here that just popped in.
Oh dear,
could it be the actual Earth crying for help?
It certainly could be.
It certainly could be. Basically, all the crap we've done to it.
Yeah,
certainly could be.
Because there are large parts of this Earth that's dying.
Yes,
and it's thanks to us.
Yeah.
And you just say, why has it only happened recently? Well, if you think about it, technology has only happened recently, and look at all the crap that we're throwing into the Earth, and the way we're damaging the Earth, and you know, especially into the atmosphere as well. You know, it's a recent thing.
Yeah.
You know.
This is it.
But that would suggest that it's going to happen more often.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. If it carries on the way we are, I mean, we're taking so much out of the Earth at the moment. You know, we're looking at gas, we're looking at oil. You know, in the year 2045, the world runs out of gas, natural gas. We've got no more gas. End of. You know, and that's a known fact.
Nigel said the Earth is a living being. It does sound like a kind of primeval cry. So it could be.
Yes, we're going green.
Mother Earth has had enough. I parasites, humans.
Yeah.
It could be.
Well,
It could
yes,
be.
we are. We're killing the earth off. You know, slowly but surely we are.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Matrix in the film. The one of the people in that, I can't remember what his name was, but he was a main antagonist. Actually said that humans are a virus.
Mm.
So make sure you're hearing yourself okay.
The whole thing that we do is we destroy. We don't build.
And like Deb said, it's all for money.
And when
Well, it is.
And when we
Yeah.
do build, we
Yeah.
build to destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Right. Well.
I blame religion.
Religion.
Yeah.
Well, I must admit, all these wars are not for the best, better, good, or whatever. It's all to do with religion. Look at most of these suicide bombers. What are they doing it for?
It's
For
religion.
the love of God.
Yeah, it's religious.
You know what I mean? It's
Ever
all-
since.
Don't get me started. I already ranted on Facebook. Don't
He started it.
get me started on that one.
So.
I was always told one thing: never talk politics or religion, and I'm not. End of.
So, well, anyway.
Let's get back to
yes.
let's get back to entities and
coming soon.
Right. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's show, and we'd like to thank Richard Thomas for coming on, even though it was short and sweet. But at least we know where he sits in the paranormal community, because even though he is just a journalist and a freelance writer, he still sits in there somewhere. Okay, like everybody else, and we must remember that when it comes to paranormal opinions and stuff, everyone's got an opinion, no matter how wacky it may sound, or how interesting it may sound. We're all here to learn at the end of the day, and that's what it's all about. It's nice to get other people's perspectives. You know, you may think they're a little bit crazy, a little bit out there, but you never know. A little bit of craziness sometimes can go a long way, can't it, Neil?
certainly can.
You know, and before you know it, you know, you know, a lot of people out there might actually be telling the truth. So you have to consider it that way. So it's nice to have opinions and maybe a little bit of controversy.
I think we all have a little bit of the truth.
Yes.
It's the knack is finding it and putting it all together.
Yeah, yeah. So
jigsaw piece.
You know, as I say, you know, some people we may have on the show, as I say, you may think are a little bit crazy and probably talking a load of baloney. But can
we have ham? I don't like baloney.
But as I say, it's what they believe in, and you must take their beliefs, respect their beliefs if that's the way they want to choose to go ahead in life. Isn't that right, Neil?
Exactly.
You know, whether it's with mediums or anything like that. So Nigel says he's crazy and proud of it. So
same here, Nigel.
Yeah, same here. I mean, over the last 12 months that we've been doing this, it's nearly 12 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've changed my mind on things several times.
Yeah.
Because of the information coming through that I didn't know.
Well, this is it, and we're learning more every time, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it's nice to get other people's perspective.
I keep having arguments with Nigel. It's fun.
So, but anyway, as I said, talking about coming soon. Next week on the show, we have two guests, and one's on the telephone and one's via Skype. The first guest we have on is a young man by the name of, you'd probably like me saying that, called Simon Entwistle. Now, I don't know whether you've heard of this guy before, but at the moment he's quite big in the paranormal world. It probably has been for quite some time. But he does the Pendle tours. And so he's going to be coming on and talking to us about his tours and haunted stuff and what have you. And also what got him into all this in the first place. So we've got him coming on first. And Nigel says thanks for telling me that. And then we've got Nigel coming on afterwards. Nigel Mortimer, Sir Nigel of the Portals. Yeah. He's going to be coming on and talking to us about channeling with ETs. So Maybe that might be interesting for you.
And dimensional beings.
Dimensional beings. Is it possible to channel credible and accurate information from celestial ETs? Well, Nigel claims that he is able to do this and will be explaining how. Okay, he will be discussing other famous contactee cases and outlines his own journey after first receiving psychic messages from a celestial being called Charlotte over 30 years ago. So he's going to be telling us more about this. Okay, so we're going to talk to Nigel Mortimer in the second part of the show, and as I say, in the first part of the show we will be talking to Simon Entwistle. Okay, so until next time, please remember that we are here during the week somewhere on the internet, and we will be doing quite a few things. And just to let you know, in March, I know it's a month away, but just to give you a heads up, in March, starting from March the 6th, for the next every 6 to 8 weeks, we will be having Alison Winrider coming back on via Skype, and she's going to be doing some readings for us every 6 to 8 weeks. So that's starting from March the 6th. And we have a few other guests coming on soon. Mark Rosney will be back with us sometime, and I'll put a list up somewhere or let you know. My diary's over there, so I can't reach it, but we will be letting you know of more guests that are coming on soon. Neil, are you with us next week? Talking to Sir Nigel of the Portal?
I shall be in the chat room, no
You'll
doubt.
be in the chat room.
Definitely be in the chat room.
Oh, okie dokie. So, as I say, please join us next week, and don't forget, when you're on the ride, keep your hands in, keep your legs in, and wait for it to stop. Until next time, keep the paranormal friendly. Good night and God bless.
Night, folks. Good night.
Every Wednesday night. This is where it's at.